record on this first.
Too complicated for us white guys.
Yeah.
It is. We're about to be live in a minute.
Eden is now streaming live, baby.
Yes, we are. We are live.
Oh, we're doing it.
We are. How's it going, people? Welcome to Popcorn and Pints on the Z Network. I'm hosting this episode tonight.
It's happening.
And
Yeah.
I got my guys with me. Ibrahim.
What's up?
Chris.
That's me.
And James.
Let's go.
Now, without further ado, the movie we are reviewing, if you guys can't find that by my background and my shirt, Batman from 1989. And I mean, I'm just going to go out and say it. The second best live action Batman movie. Michael Keaton, #1 Batman, live action. I'm just going to go out and say it. I know it's not crazy because I know everybody agrees. And if you don't agree, you're wrong. Just going to say that.
Well, okay, we'll go with it. This is your party, so we'll just go with it.
Wait, second best. What was the first one?
Returns, he thinks.
Batman Returns?
Returns is the #1. It's my favorite. Let's just get this bit out of the way right now before we even get into the review of the movie. I'll give you my top two. It goes Batman Returns, then this one. Now, if we're including the animated series is #1, followed by Batman Returns, followed by this one. But,
I always go animated better than anything.
Yeah.
But we're going to go by live action here.
Yeah, we're doing live action. I hear that. You know what? I hear that a lot about the animated series too. Actually, though,
it's fucking. Yeah. So who wants to go next with their?
I'll be the guy who's gonna say that I like the Nolan movies. I like The Dark Knight probably the most, and then probably this movie '89. Mm-hmm. And then probably Begins, and then probably like Returns, and then probably Returns and Dark Knight Rises are kind of around the same for me. I do think Returns is better, but I think Rises has some good moments in it.
I mean, this is the first time I've watched this movie in at least 25 years. I know I've seen this like original four movie series all the way from this to Batman and Robin, not not the older ones. I don't remember. There's no way I could remember the movies. I remember bits and pieces. Obviously, the Nolan movies were great. I mean, different times calls for a different style of movie, and I think that's going back and watching these now is. I mean, you always hear that. Obviously, I think without a doubt, Keaton was the best from like this 4 Batman movie span here between him, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney. But just going back and watching this, it really was a great movie for its time, even with some of the wonderfully cheesy effects.
Yeah, I think Val Kilmer was good. I think that Keaton, like what helped him is that the films are really good. And what hurt the other people is that they had Joel Schumacher doing the super campy 1960s Batman, which just did not work for its time. Just didn't work. And that kind of just like blew everything up. But there's unfortunately, like in like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, like there's some okay performances, especially in Batman Forever, but they just get totally undermined because Joel Schumacher was like, "Hey, I want to do a zany, like the old school Batman," and it just was like, "What the hell?" No one wanted it, and he just didn't understand what people actually wanted out of Batman at the time, and it just almost killed the character, killed it for like about 10 years after Batman and Robin. We didn't get another Batman movie till Batman Begins.
Was that the one with the infamous bat nipples? I don't remember. Was it
Batman and Robin was the bat nipples. Absolutely destroyed Batman for a generation.
I forgot about that. People used to say that shit.
The old bat nipple.
Yeah, that was. I mean, and also like they had Arnold Schwarzenegger doing all the. He's what's his name?
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
He's Mr. Freeze, and he's just doing ice puns like, ice, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oof.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree on that part. Mine is this Batman because I watched this movie like a million times when I was younger. That's what got me into Batman. Batman, my top superheroes is Batman, always been, until I've been introduced to Deadpool, but I don't count him as a superhero. He's an anti-superhero. So Batman is #1. So I watched this movie so many times. Jack Nicholson, of course, he's a great actor. Michael Keaton, best Batman. Batman Returns is second in this series, like you said, the 4 block.
Yeah.
But I'm not counting. I'm not counting Dark Knight and everything because that's a new age and it's darker.
No,
and
yeah,
I like it.
that's a different block of Batman movies.
I agree. So it's this one, Batman Returns. Then it got cheesy, like you said, like that. They're trying to bring the old comic stuff back. There were some funny parts, like the Riddler, Jim Carrey. He had some funny parts, but it was just so childlike. Like,
you know what's funny is I watched this movie and I was doing a little research on like the behind the scenes stuff today, and them actually casting Michael Keaton was no one was on board for that except for Tim Burton.
wow.
Because yeah, at the time, I mean, Keaton was becoming kind of typecast as a comedic actor from the movies he was doing at the time. No real drama stuff going on like that. So when they cast him, people were concerned that the storyline they were going to go campy, but which is funny because the movie actually, some of the criticism came in from this Batman movie being too dark at the time.
Yeah, I can see that. 1989, kind of for action superhero movie.
Yeah,
Now, like Friday the 13th, I think you expect it to be.
I mean, it worked out great, of course.
Yeah.
Keaton's, this is obviously one of the roles he'll be on his deathbed and still be known for. But
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can, because like before this, what they had done like Beetlejuice together, him and Tim Burton. So you're like, you're gonna have Beetlejuice be Batman, right? And you just don't see it, but like he had that Batman persona where he could turn it off and on, and be when he's Batman, it's totally different. Which is, yeah, I mean, he's amazing in the role for sure.
I think we should probably just a quick note, since this is called Popcorn and Pints, and Aaron here is getting ready to pour himself something. What are you drinking there, sir?
Right now, Chocolate Batman is drinking. Not a sponsor. Red's Wicked Watermelon, 8% alcohol.
Oh, you're gonna try to get white girl wasted. Okay.
No, Chocolate Batman wasted. Try to. Which I did prep before the show too. I had a beer or two and I had a smoke.
I myself am on actually beer number 5.
Yeah.
What are you sipping on?
Some other half Leaf Creepers IPA. It's quite delicious. I'm digging it a lot. I think it's like 8-point-something%. So it's and this being my 5th beer, it's gonna hit me probably halfway through this.
I hope so.
Hopefully it'll hit me at some point.
That was my game plan. Before this, I don't have it on me, but I took like 3 shots of vodka really quick.
Nice.
Then I forgot the bottle I was going to bring it up with me, but I was hooking up the laptop and shit, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You can always run and grab the bottle. You're allowed to drink it.
Yeah, man. It's encouraged here.
It is. Very encouraged. Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
I'm home. It works.
Exactly. We're all home. Drink it responsibly. And Ibrahim, sir, if you drank today, what did you have?
This might be water. This might be vodka. Who knows?
Mystery drink.
Maybe it's a mix.
Water it down a little bit.
Yes. You know, actually, you mentioned Beetlejuice earlier. They didn't even greenlight the Batman movie until they found out Beetlejuice was successful as it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about like the producer on this film. I think his name was like Michael Peters or Jason Peters, something like that. So this guy was like, so the stories I heard of him came from Kevin Smith. So Kevin Smith worked with this producer to do Kevin Smith then wrote a script for this movie Superman Lives, which was basically going to be Batman versus Superman in the 90s.
Was that going to be the Nick Cage one?
That was the Nick Cage one, yeah.
Yes.
Come on.
That would be Aaron's favorite.
Absolutely. Aaron's number 1 movie. That never happened.
Yeah, Nick Cage says Superman. Yeah, you must have hated that idea just in general.
Hey man, that footage is out there. His test screening, right?
Yep, I seen it. Yep. He looks so weird in a Superman costume.
I've seen the picture. I never actually watched the footage though, but yeah, it was just so weird to see.
Yeah, but like the producer was like totally unhinged. Like just like one of those Hollywood stereotypes, like he literally couldn't read. Like he would say, "Write me the script and then read it to me."
Wow.
and then he had these weird, like, oh well, Superman has to fight a spider. There just has to be a giant spider somewhere. And yeah, he's telling this story. And then later he said, this was so funny, that like that producer then produced Wild Wild West. And then he was like, "Oh shit, that's why there's this giant spider in Wild Wild West." Like that's literally like the whole subplot of this. The villain is like,
so he's obsessed with giant spiders.
he's obsessed with giant spiders.
Wow.
And he can't read, and he's like totally crazy.
Well,
Wow.
what's kind of funny about that is, as I was looking into Tim Burton, he was never a big comic fan. I mean, he got this job after Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So that was another concern people had. You know, he's coming off Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They cast Michael Keaton. They think there's no way they're not taking this in some kind of campy direction and things like that.
Yeah.
Burton was never a comic guy. He couldn't follow the panels. I don't know if it was a dyslexia thing for him or what, but then The Killing Joke came out, popular Batman graphic novel in like, the late 80s. And that's what really got him on board. He talked about how he always just loved the image of Batman and the Joker. So that's really the reason he took the movie. Huh?
Yeah, it definitely, to be honest, it makes sense that he's not into the comics. To be honest, like that's just not really his realm.
No,
he's more of an aesthetics guy. But his aesthetic is so good in this movie, actually. That's what he gets so right, is creating this gothic kind of, architecture and like making Gotham City a character. There's a lot of other movies where they kind of get away from that, but he this film in Returns, he just like hits the nail on the head of creating that atmosphere.
and they actually won an Academy Award for art direction in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's just like so much stuff like about this film that's very unique and really, really good. And it's kind of interesting that it's never like there's so much Batman stuff out there, but we've never really gone back to the things that were really done well in this film, which is what makes it still unique.
Aaron,
Yes, sir.
your thoughts on Batman 1989?
My honest thoughts. And really quick, I want to go back to a conversation Chris and I had. Yes, this is appropriate for the show, believe it or not. We were discussing, I believe it was your idea, Chris, like certain movies that we watched in our childhood. We were going to be reviewing on the show here and there. And this is one of the movies that we all watched in our childhood.
Oh, yeah.
And we wanted to see like if we still enjoyed them or loved them the same. So I'm going to be answering your question as I answer this. For me, I do. Like, I love this movie as a kid. Came out June 23rd, I want to say, of 1989. I was 3 years old. I don't know when I actually got to see the movie, probably between the ages of 5 and 7, but it was just so cool and just like something we've never seen before. And I know now, obviously you could say we've seen it all before and movies look way different now, better graphics and all that other shit. But in my opinion, this movie still holds up and it still holds that like special place for me. And like, because there's been plenty of movies, which I can't think of any, well, I'm sure we're going to review plenty of them, where you watch them, as a kid and you watch them now, movies or shows, and you're like, what the fuck was what the hell was I watching? Why did I watch this corny ass shit? But this isn't one of those. This is like, holy shit. It still holds up. And I just realized today, as far as just remembering today, I was watching the movie today, the intro is from the animated series.
Yep, same.
It's damn near the same, which I thought was fucking awesome. And like that clicked, I was like, holy shit, that just makes both of them so much more amazing to me because how they did that connection.
No, if I'm not mistaken, I think the success of this led into the animated series and them really being able to build a more televised DC type shows, not necessarily universe at the time, because I mean it was early on before we get into the universe building stuff really started, but
yeah,
this was a big inspiration after they saw the success of this, I think.
I agree. And I want to say again, this is the Reds watermelon. Not a sponsor, but I mean,
it looks like some malt liquor can.
It does.
It's like a 40.
It's not a 40. It's not malt liquor, guys. Don't worry.
I never tried it. I'm sure it's good.
It's delicious.
It's some watermelon ale. White girl wasted for sure.
Oh, no ale. No ale.
No.
This is a cider.
Whatever you got to tell yourself, friend.
Sexy cider.
Sexy. Okay.
Yeah, I was 6 when this movie came out. Again, I don't remember the age I saw it, but I know I haven't seen it since I was probably at least like 10 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't remember Billy D. Williams being in it. The fact that Prince actually sang and wrote some of the music, I'm like, holy shit.
Prince did a song for this movie. Crazy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
There
something.
was a song during the parade, right? The balloons.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked obviously being back in '89. You go back and watch this now. There's definitely you can see some of the bad CGI that's there. But Aaron, you're right, man. I mean, the movie itself still holds up as thinking of the time it came out. Like this was really great for its time.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Oh yeah, it was definitely great for its time, and like, it was done so well, like really, really well, which just amazed the hell out of me. To this day, I mean, as a kid, you're just like, holy shit. But now as an adult, I'm still like, holy shit. And like, you remember this movie. Like, I have good memories of this movie, watching it with my siblings and cousins and stuff. And then just what's funny and what's kind of crazy is I shared a post yesterday on Facebook from 10 years ago to yesterday, Friday the 13th.
I saw that.
I was watching this movie.
Wow.
Years ago. And then 10 years ago today, I was watching Batman Returns, which is just, it's so weird because we're doing a live show on Batman from '89. We're gonna be doing Returns probably in a couple of weeks. And it like just how that fell into place. I was like, it was meant to be. It was one of those things. I'm not gonna get too weird with all that. I'm just saying it just fit like a fucking puzzle. And I mean, this movie's amazing. No, I'm not gonna cry, James. Don't worry. This isn't like last.
So, story-wise, how do we think the story played out in this one? I think overall it played well, and it made me think at the late '80s, early '90s that it's not like now when you have a superhero and you plan for multiple movies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot now that probably wasn't the plan. You don't plan out trilogies back in the '80s and '90s and things like that. It's strictly based on success.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to kind of cover the origin of Batman with his parents being killed and involve it into a story in the 2 hours that this was, I think they did a good job of that as well.
I agree.
They did mess it up though.
What was that?
They messed it up though. In the comics, Joker didn't kill the parents.
Well, yeah, obviously they've
switched it.
It's changed a lot over time.
Yeah,
like because they like the DC. The thing about DC too in the comics is like they like to just completely destroy everything.
That's true.
In their continuity, and then to say we're starting from zero, which is like Crisis on Infinite Earths. But that is an
like
interesting
Justice League.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's interesting about what they did, right, is like then it makes the Joker like really his arch nemesis.
That's true.
Like there's even a line at the end where he's like, where the Joker says, "Well, you created me." He's like, "You made me first.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna fucking kill you."
Yeah.
I mean, that's a twist that they put in, but that's the kind of thing you see when you try to set up a new kind of, or try to take on a new take of an existing character. I feel like you have to kind of put something in there like that. I mean, Batman dropping Joker into the acid is a storyline from somewhere in the early comics.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
How he becomes created. Which I also don't get why the acid would turn his skin that Joker white. And he has to actually apply flesh-colored makeup if he wants to look flesh-colored, which was more creepy than the Joker makeup by far. Yeah. More fucking creepy than the Joker makeup.
And the smile is just a poor excuse of a surgeon with fucked up tools.
Yeah, man. I don't know what he had in his he had to have in his mouth or something to kind of play that smile, but that could not have. But it was fucking. The flesh makeup was the creepiest, though.
It was kind of weird.
You see, and
now, can he do that with his face for real? I think he does that as real. I've seen that in a lot of movies where he does that fucked up smile.
Well, I mean, no one plays insane better than Jack Nicholson.
That's true. Cuckoo's Nest. You seen that one?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, you never seen that one, Aaron? Jesus.
But
he plays an insane character in most of his movies, and he fucking nails it like every time.
Yeah.
Dining.
Dining, yeah.
Boom. But
and sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say now. Go ahead.
All right. Interrupting white man. Jack Nicholson wasn't even the original choice by Tim Burton for the Riddler, and Jack Nicholson in reading some of the reviews and stuff, Nicholson, I mean, he overshadows Keaton in pretty much all of the scenes, but Keaton holds his own. Nicholson's really the star. He had oh man, just reading about the contract he had for this was ridiculous. Like he set his own hours, his off hours. It was strictly in his contract, the number of off hours he'd have to have. He did not work on days where there was a home LA Lakers game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's obsessed with Lakers.
Oh yeah,
he's a big Laker,
and
especially at this time when they were actually like winning championships pretty consistently. So it's like, yeah, you're not cutting out of my Laker time. Sorry.
Yeah. So that was in there. I mean, he wanted to shoot all of his scenes in like a 3-week block, which I think went a little longer. But he had reduced his actual $10 million like standard salary to 6, and demanded percentages of the movie gross and like most of like the merchandise. And which they gave him. And
that's smart
so
business right there.
it ended up being like anywhere between $50 and $90 million that he made off of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I forgot where I was going with this when I started. But yeah, he played. No one plays insane better than him.
Well, you were saying that they did. Did you see a list of like the other people they wanted?
That's
for
right.
Joker?
The second choice was Robin Williams.
Oh,
That would have
guess-
been interesting.
Like the studio wanted a big star. I forgot who Tim Burton wanted. I think they looked at a lot of people like Tim Curry. David Bowie was actually a consideration at
David
one
Bowie,
point.
that would have been kind of cool.
John Lithgow, Ray Liotta, James Woods. Actually, John Lithgow talked Burton out of casting him, and then later admittedly regretting it because he didn't know how big of a deal it was.
We have to jump back to Tim Curry, and for horror fans, you know why, because Tim Curry.
Yeah.
It's Pennywise.
Imagine Tim Curry playing the Joker and Pennywise. My question to you guys is, to you three and whoever is fucking watching, which clown would have been bigger with Tim Curry playing? Like, what role would he have been known more for?
Fuck.
Joker or Pennywise?
I gotta go
Joker.
Joker, man. I gotta go Joker.
yeah, that's too.
Yeah, because it would have been a bigger movie.
Batman, yeah.
Okay.
That It movie, that like miniseries was kind of like a cult thing. It wasn't really.
It was a cult following. That was
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people
It's the
saw
wine
it.
to die, you know.
I agree with you guys, and I'll say this because, like, maybe, well, for one, horror still has that kind of like bad taste for some people versus, you know, like a comic book movie. And what else was I gonna say? Fuck, I forgot where the hell was I going with this, Chris?
I don't know, man.
All right, well, real quick, guys. I started my next one. It's the Megabyte beer, not a sponsor, but can be.
Hey, are you double fisting there? Is that what you're pretty much doing?
He's gone.
Here, I mixed them because it's just fucking. It's
Because why not?
Yeah, I know.
because why not? That's why. Because
Right?
Is that a fruity one too? You just mix. You're just making a fucking.
I think that one's just an IPA, right?
this one's an IPA. This one's not really fruity, but it cuts down on the sweetness of this, and this cuts up on the bitter. So, perfect mix. Like,
All right.
Okay, the character thing. I got one for you.
Okay.
Let's go with, instead of Nicholson or Tim Curry, let's take, instead of Jim Carrey being the Riddler, what about they had him as the Joker?
he would be a great fucking Joker.
I think that could have worked. I mean, they had considered Robin Williams for the Riddler too at one point, and so I mean that.
I can see Robin Williams more as the Riddler.
I would see him more as the Riddler than the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see, like, especially Jim Carrey, who's like a good actor, like in a non-campy movie. It would have been very interesting because, that's actually really good casting. But I mean, the other part of that thing too was that him and Tommy Lee Jones hated each other. So then they kind of like, and they had all these scenes together. So then they were kind of like having like who's got the bigger dick in the scene kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of messed up the movie too. So like, there's so many levels on why that movie just didn't work.
Well, it was funny because watching this again, I didn't remember all the characters they were going to portray in this. I didn't remember Billy D. Williams being in it at all, but he plays Harvey Dent.
Yep.
And apparently Tim Burton, I mean, that was clearly intentional because he wanted to eventually use Billy D. Williams as Two-Face and really portray that Two-Face black white aspect.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Lee Jones eventually ended up playing Two-Face. in
They-
like the third Batman movie.
Yeah, they should have just stuck with him.
I wish Tim Burton got to do what he did with Batman and Batman Returns. I wish he got to do that with Batman Forever and Batman, whatever the fuck it was called.
Batman and Robin and
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Nipples. Yeah.
I like that name better.
yeah.
Batman and Nichols.
Why did they do that? That made no sense.
So the actual
About a bat suit.
the actual story for Returns was supposed to have Harvey Dent. I forget what happened, but I think Billy D. Williams basically backed out for some reason, and then they brought in the Shrek character, who's played by Christopher Walken. But that was supposed to be Harvey Dent.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, especially why Burton wasn't involved in, like, like the third or fourth movie or what the story is. But I mean, Burton's original plan was to really play that African American white Two-Faced with Billy D. Williams.
That would have been fucking amazing. I really wish Burton got those movies. You know what I do like though, which I know we'll eventually review those movies, but with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, I know they had their fun parts, their cool parts, their fun parts, but there's some I like watching bad movies, guys. I really do.
Me too, man. Me too.
I love watching bad. I mean, I'm a horror fan. There's a lot of horror movies that are fucking
Trash.
Probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's my favorite holiday horror movie. It's my favorite holiday horror comedy.
Is this Thanksgiving?
Yes, it is.
Really quick, while I'm live on Horror with Search 30 this Wednesday, I am doing a live show of Halloween 2 as far as a movie review with my guy Kelvin. And I want to say the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, this is like an exclusive right here, people. The Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, I want to do a live show on the Horror Search 30 podcast, which will be on Horror Search 30 page, the Z Network page, and all the other shit. But Thanksgiving. So,
I gotta watch this movie, man. I've heard you talk about it, and I really want to see this.
You really have to do it.
it's on Tubi, so everybody, Tubi is it's free and it's a legit thing. Download it on your Rokus, your Fire Sticks, your PlayStations, your Xboxes, your computer, whatever you use for your streaming. That device, download it on that. You can also put it on your phone and your computer, and there's also a website. And watch Thanksgiving. I want to do that live with a few people.
I'm in.
Perfect. Whoever wants to be on that, I mean, hit me up. I'm dead serious because I want to do another review on that, and it'll be the final review I do of Thanksgiving for at least, I don't know,
A year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, a year. And it might just be a yearly thing where I get different guests and shit because I love that movie. It's so fucking funny. I own it on DVD. Part 3.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Part 1, it's a million time watch. Last part about Thanksgiving, I'll say, is my wife watched about 2 minutes of it and then she left the room. She said she can't deal with this shit.
Mine too, Aaron. Mine too.
They just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. We love them. We love them.
I think she was second guessing the marriage when she seen me watching that.
Have they made the wrong choice?
Yep. She's like, oh shit.
They weren't thanking anybody.
But really quick, I want everybody to let everybody know where we are from as far as like, for me, you guys know me as Aaron, aka Search 30 of the Horror Search 30 podcast on the Z Network. Right now we're doing Popcorn and Pints. And yeah, that's me. I have a horror podcast. I talk horror movies, do horror interviews, random funny horror chats, movie reviews, show reviews, all that good stuff. Similar to this. Similar to Popcorn and Pints. So check out Horror Research 30 on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitch, and who wants to go next? And real quick, because I know James is gonna say he doesn't have a show, but he's my co-host on Horror Research 30. He's one of my co-hosts, and he's also an unofficial co-host or an official co-host of the Z Network on Popcorn and Pints. I'm sure on Stories from a Bar.
Yep.
And everything else, everything on the Z Network, he's connected with. We're all like co-hosts of each other.
There you go. Aaron did my job. I don't have to say nothing. Thank you.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So my sort of network of stuff is on Deep Focus Cinema podcast. So if you just look that up, you'll see all of the stuff that I do there. So I have one where we just do general film reviews that's like new stuff. So like We're probably going to review like Mank when it comes out in December and other big stuff that comes out on Netflix. Right now, me and my co-host Lucian, we're doing like our top 100 movies of all time. So we just did our first part of that. And actually the next part's coming out tomorrow. So, and that's going to be like a 10-part series. So that's pretty exciting. And also tomorrow, I have a podcast that I do with another YouTuber, and we review sci-fi movies. And so that's another thing that's going to come out tomorrow. We're going to do a review for Interstellar. So yeah, just look up Defocus Cinema Podcast. You'll find all my stuff.
Real quick, Ibrahim, before Chris goes, I want to say, if you want to, man, drop it in go to the Z Network Facebook group, and I'll accept you if you aren't already in it, and leave a comment with your, leave your links in there.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Thanks.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. Christian Malcolm Osborne, it's your turn.
Malcolm's not my middle name, but I'll be happy to go last as the white guy. So of course, I mean, anyone that doesn't know, what was that?
Middle name Joseph?
No, not even close.
That's mine.
Albert?
No.
He's gonna guess every whitest name he ever heard.
Okay, what do you got? What do you got on hand here? What are the whitest names to you?
Yeah, Chad,
Keith,
Steven, Matthew.
I'm sure there's plenty black Matthews out there.
Yeah.
Robert, Timothy.
Timothy's his favorite. He says Timothy a lot.
I don't know.
Okay, my middle name's Sean.
Oh, he would have never got that.
I bet you it's SEAN too, isn't it?
It is. That is right. It's the white Sean.
It's the white Sean.
Cassidy.
I'll give you that. You got that part right. You spelled it right. I'm shocked.
I was surprised. Yeah.
No, but
Ibrahim, I gotta ask you, what's your middle name, man? I have to.
Oh, you're not gonna guess? Come on, man. You gotta guess.
Oh, man.
I'll give you a hint. It's a religious name.
I'm terrible with those. Christian.
What? Yeah. No.
Chris.
That's good. That's actually a fine guess. I'll give him that. I'll say that much.
Allah.
No.
Allah.
it is a Christian name. I'll say that much. Narrow it down for you a little bit more.
Jesus. You look Spanish, so is it Jesus?
No, it's not Jesus.
It was only a matter of time before he said that.
Think of the great prophets. Think of them in the Christian faith, like in the Old Testament.
I don't know this. Moses.
Not
Moses. You got it. Boom. Final.
I was about to say, don't say Judas.
Judas. That's what he would say too. Satan, like Satan.
Yeah,
Lucifer.
Yeah.
Can I talk about my podcast now?
There you go.
Okay.
Show.
Yes, I host a podcast called Stories from a Bar. I talk to a lot of the local brewers, people in the bar business in the 518 area code. I sometimes expand upon that. It's more, I like to think, that feeling of meeting a stranger at the bar, chatting over drinks, getting to know people. If I find someone interesting, it's basically just sitting down and having drinks with them. But, I mean, there is a heavy focus on beer from time to time. I'm recording a new episode this week with an owner of a bar to talk about, the bar, the effects that COVID's having, and, businesses. I tried my best to really help support local businesses in this scenario too, so I'd like to think it's a win-win because, it's places I love to support, and hopefully I'm helping to support them by people listening and deciding to go there and whatnot. But yeah, you can catch those episodes. Follow the Stories from a Bar Facebook page, the Twitter @StoriesFAB, the Instagram, certainly the Z Network, and things like that.
Yes. And really quick, the Z Network is a network for creators by creators. And I say that because I'm a creator and everybody on the Z Network are creators. We all have our own shows. Then we have like the shows we share. The show we share, which is Popcorn and Pints. And we just want to help each other grow. And we want to entertain you guys at the same exact motherfucking time. That's what we're all about. And it's not just horror. It's not just movie shows. Like Chris said, Stories from a Bar. He also has another show called the Statesman series where...
Yep, I'm working on that one. drinking and talking about dumb criminals from state to state.
Yes, and they're funny crimes, nothing serious like murder or rape.
Okay, yeah, I know. Those are the really two aspects that tend to take humor out of situations.
Yeah.
You know, like Florida was a lot of alligator stuff. Believe it or not,
Florida man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was partially the inspiration behind my idea, but yes.
So yes. Now, Ibrahim, what state are you in again?
I'm in California.
No,
I got California man now. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go. You have to come to California, man. Chris, any episode that you do, as many episodes, I want to be on as many as possible. I'll put it that.
We'll make it happen. But you know what we should do is we should get back to talking about Batman.
Batman.
Okay, I wanted to bring up something. So, like, I don't know if you guys knew, but Tim Burton had an idea for creating a Robin in one of the sequels he was going to do. Didn't you guys know who the Robin was going to be? This is actually really interesting. Who they cast, and they cast this person.
At this time, I would have no clue to think of.
It was so they were going to have Marlon Wayans as Robin.
Were they really?
Yes, Marlon Wayans was going to be the Robin in this universe.
Oh my God. Wow.
And it was so interesting because I think it would have worked, but like he seemed to just love the kind of comedians who can play serious, or at least try to get them to do that. It's so interesting.
That's something I noticed about Tim Burton. And in fact, the original casting before they settled on Michael Keaton, which by the way drew like 50,000 protest letters that were sent to Warner Brothers.
Sounds a lot like Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
seeing a trend. Or what's his name from Twilight? Robert Pattinson.
Oh, Robert Pattinson. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen the preview for the new Batman. I mean, it looks badass. I'll give it a chance.
I'll give it a shot, but
yeah.
Real quick with this new Batman movie, I was originally supposed to play Batman, but I'm out of shape.
That was the problem. Exercise.
Yeah, exercise. COVID.
That was it. Yeah.
Funny. So because Robert Pattinson can afford like a trainer and all this stuff. So yeah, I was gonna be Batman.
Oh, didn't you hear? He said he didn't work out. He stopped doing it when COVID hit. He stopped working out.
I mean, he had COVID at one point.
He got COVID when they restarted, but like they shut down, and then he was like, I'm not working out anymore, and people got really mad at him for that.
No, but I mean, obviously the studio wanted a big name. I think some of the original actors they had considered for the role were actually Mel Gibson, Kevin Costner, even Charlie Sheen, Tom Selleck at one point, Harrison Ford, Dennis Quaid. They actually approached Pierce Brosnan to play Batman, and he turned it down.
Really quick, Charlie Sheen has the right shaped head to play Batman and Bruce Wayne.
I don't even know if it was that. Charlie Sheen was a huge name in the 80s and early 90s.
And personality to play Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Back as he is, he's cop. And he is a whore. He sleeps around.
It's true. It's true.
His medical record definitely proves that.
It definitely proves that, yeah.
And I mean, I see. I don't know how well, because I see Charlie Sheen as like a funny character. I'm not saying he couldn't play a serious role, but I just know him from. I mean, I know him from other stuff, like that baseball movie he was in.
Yep.
Major League, baby.
Major League, yeah.
We got to cover the Major League movies on this. That'd be fun.
Wow thing.
Hell yeah.
I mean, but go ahead. Sorry.
What I was gonna say is I feel like he would play a really good Bruce Wayne. I think he'd play an amazing Bruce Wayne. But I don't know about the Batman part. I'm not saying he couldn't pull it off, but I don't know if he would pull it off.
Get a stunt double.
Well, I mean, that was the main concern with Michael Keaton. I mean, he was becoming known as more of a comedic type personality based on the movies he did, and the concern was he couldn't handle the serious role. So he leaned on a little comedy when he had to play Bruce Wayne, like at the party when he, Vicky Vale asked him if she knows who Bruce Wayne is and he plays dumb, or when they're looking at all those statues and medieval stuff and he's walking behind them and says, "Oh yeah, that's Japanese. Oh, I bought it when I was in Japan."
Yeah, good point.
And he did great.
Good point.
But Michael Keaton does have that serious like dad face.
He does, and it's been a long time since I've seen a young Michael Keaton. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a long time since there's been a young Michael Keaton. He's
That's a fair point.
Now, my question to you guys: if they did, before I ask this question, are you guys familiar with Batman Beyond?
Yes.
Maybe.
It's an animated series.
No. I know that I never watched it. I know what it is.
Basically, the guy's name, the Batman in that show is Terry McGinnis.
Yep.
And he's like, Batman's training him. Bruce Wayne is training him to be like the next Batman, pretty much. So he's the next Batman.
Okay. You know what? I think I've seen at least some of these episodes when I was younger.
Yeah. Future
Well,
stuff.
slight spoiler. Terry is basically Bruce's son, but a clone. Proceed.
Of course.
That gets revealed later on in the series.
Yeah, didn't see that coming at all.
My question to you guys is, if they did a Batman Beyond live action movie, how would you guys feel if Michael Keaton played the Bat? Because he's old, so he's older. You know what I mean? He's not out there fighting and shit, so he's older.
It won't bother me.
I think it would be great.
Well, dude, they're bringing Michael Keaton back as Bruce Wayne in the TV DC universe there on the CW or whatever it is.
Well, he's going to be in. They're supposed to be doing a Flashpoint movie for the Flash.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming back as Bruce Wayne from like an alternate universe in one of the DC universe.
Yep.
As he should, though. I mean,
Yes, he should. Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing.
The guy who would play Terry McGinnis, I don't know what his name is, but they always cast him as Nightwing. Not like the Facebook cast fan shit. It's Nightwing. I don't know what his name is. I know he's white, of course. But I feel like he would be the perfect Terry McGinnis.
Let me ask you this: since there's two black men in the group, who would make a good black Batman?
Me.
Black man.
No, me. If you want somebody famous, I'll say Michael Jai White. I say that because he really does know martial arts.
He's too buffed.
And he's a pretty good, huh?
He's too buff, man. He let's stick to Spawn. They should have never got rid of him. He should be Spawn.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm gonna ask you guys this question is gonna go back to you Caucasians as well. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Michael. I mean, I know he's Diesel, but still, like, I feel like he could do the voice. Like if you go, yeah, I'm Batman. You up. I can't.
No comment.
Because like, oh fuck, Denzel.
Aaron, you do know that voice that the white Batmans do is them trying to speak like a black guy.
Yeah.
It's that deep voice, like they're like sitting there like I gotta sound like Barry White or something.
Yeah, they gotta take on that real deep tenor voice to try to get Batman. You know?
No, I'm gonna say Michael Jai White, and my number 2 pick, I'll just say Denzel because
I mean young Denzel.
Yeah, he's too old now, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, we're saying young.
Yeah.
Ibrahim, what about you?
So the people that come to mind would be I forget the guy's name, but they just put him in the MCU. He's going to be King the Conqueror. His name's like Jonathan something. I forget his name, but he's like a really great actor, and he's like going to blow up. He's a great actor, just in general. I think like the thing that comes to my mind immediately is like Will Smith. Like you want to get a big name, like a big star. Like if we're gonna do this thing, so then people will accept it. So yeah, I would say like get Will Smith or get, I don't know, someone huge like that where they're like, yeah, it makes sense that this guy's Batman.
I didn't think of that. And Will Smith is not only is he a really good actor, but he's like a good action actor.
Yeah. And
he's also one of those ones where he can have the serious role and the comedic role, which Batman's kind of both. As Bruce Wayne, he's like serious / comedic. As Batman, he's fucking serious as shit. That is a great fucking thing. And I'm gonna throw Jamie Foxx out there really quick.
Jamie Foxx would be cool. Yeah.
He's coming back as Electro in Spider-Man, man.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. Now
they actually wanted him to be Spawn. They want him to be Spawn.
Yeah, that was a big thing at one point.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, but that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool. I'll go with it.
That's another movie to review is Spawn. Now, Caucasoids.
Yeah.
Where do you got what first? Whoever wants to go first. I'll say James because you're black and white.
All right.
Black actors.
Kevin Hart.
That's the right answer. He gets in every movie.
No,
he's too small.
He can play Robin as a 10-year-old boy.
I mean, are we talking vertically challenged Batman?
Yeah. No, honestly, it is tough. Like you named good names off the spot. Like I could say for a serious actor, I don't know his name. Who's the guy they're trying to get for
Blade?
be the first black James Bond?
Idris Elba?
Oh, yeah, Idris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idris
was
Elba.
He might be decent.
No. Fuck that. Fuck decent. I think that is the best pick.
Oh, dude, he's fucking awesome.
And
Yeah.
I say that because like he has that role of he could be the tough guy. If you've seen what's the fucking show? I forgot what the hell it's called.
Are you talking about The Wire?
Thank you, Black Man. The Wire.
The one black guy who's seen the show.
It was a great show. No, but I'm saying that he can play the Stringer Bell. He can play that tough guy role. I feel like he can play the funny role ish, and then he can play like that proper role. I think it's he's British.
Yeah.
It's the
I mean, he's already played Black Superman too, in like Hobbs and Shaw. So like he's played Superman. He can play Batman.
Yeah.
He can do everything. What? What's that?
No, I'm saying Idris Elba is an excellent fucking pick.
Yeah, I like that one for sure.
And did you have another one, James, or were you?
No, because you guys shout out a lot of names that I was like thinking of, but then that one I was taking so long I couldn't think of his name. So I was like, oh yeah, they want him as Bond. So I'm like, I'm just gonna say that because I told him his name.
Dude, that's a great choice. He's got that smooth, slick, aurora about him to really pull off Bruce Wayne, and then the seriousness that would be in Batman.
Now, Chris, who's your pick?
Black Batman.
Yeah, besides me, who's your pick?
I don't know. You were talking about that, but the first name that came to my mind, because I did not think this question through before I asked it, and I can't pronounce his name off the top of my head, but the black actor they've got to play Blade coming up.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh yeah, was that the Blade series?
It's like a new Blade movie that Marvel has in the works. He
was,
really?
Okay.
Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Oh,
and
okay.
What was the actor's name that played Luke Cage? I forgot that too. He was great, but he wouldn't make a good Batman.
He's too big. He would make a good Black Bane.
That is shockingly accurate, actually.
Big. He's Diesel like that.
He's too big to be Batman.
Is he the same one in that Amazon Prime show with The Boys?
No.
Okay, that's a different dude.
Yeah, that's someone else.
All right, so back to this Batman.
Mahershala. That's
Mahershala.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Jack Nicholson as Joker? Like, I'll go second, third, or fourth on this one.
No, dude. I mean, they wanted Nicholson before this movie even was greenlit. I think they approached him years before. I mean, Robin Williams was lobbying hard for the role, from what I read, but Nicholson was always their top choice. And I mean, to the point where they even met all his crazy demands in his contract for shit's sake. I think the earliest they approached him was 3 years before this movie they started filming this. But just scrolling through some of the original reviews, Nicholson outshines everyone else in this movie. I don't think there's a question about that. I mean, Keaton's great as Batman.
Amazing.
But one of my favorite scenes is where they go into the museum after he gassed it, and with the pop music and they're dancing and just defacing the paintings.
I loved it. And breaking shit.
And again, I mean, if you're looking for insane, no one did it better at the time than Nicholson.
I agree.
Honestly, I feel like Nicholson is just, he plays that, like you guys, like we were saying earlier, he plays that role so fucking well. And he plays like the evil character so well, or that misunderstood character so well. Like, I mean, I remember him which I do want to review this movie on the Horror Society podcast one day, because I guess it'd be borderline horror, but remember the movie Wolf?
Yes.
Vaguely.
Same with me, I vaguely remember it, but I feel like he played that character so well. Again, The Shining, of course. You have this. And there's other movies I can't think of off the top of my head.
Dude, he also had some great one-liners in this movie. Like, this town needs an enema.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you know what it is? For this Joker character, it was like this kind of somewhat sinister and dark, but like the silly, goofy one. Compared to Heath Ledger was like real dark, real sinister.
Yeah, he went extreme, and I feel like this was a lighthearted with Heath Ledger being the most recent Joker I've seen, of course, this was like the lighthearted but still.
It's very
insane.
comic booky.
Yeah.
It felt like an 80s version of the Romero. Like it was still kind of like whimsical and like, oh, I electrocuted you to death with this thing on my hand. It's like,
oh yeah, with his
funny.
hand buzzer there.
Yeah, with the buzzer, and then the guy's like fried, and it's just like a skeleton. And it's
the bad CGI at the time aside was you don't even really care about because you're invested in the movie.
Yeah, and he also had the acid thing on his
the flower.
Oh, the
flower, yeah,
the flower that sprayed acid.
He's very goofy, but like it still feels kind of grounded. It still feels like, dude, I would never want to cross this dude because like I'm gonna die in a weird way, but I'm still gonna die. And like, I love the scene when he had like the really long gun. I always loved that as a kid.
Oh, that was really
like,
he pulls out like
flying down, and he's like,
he pulls out the 4-foot like handgun from his pants.
It's a handgun.
You're like, what the hell was that thing?
And he takes out Batman's plane with a handgun.
The Batwing in one shot.
It's so funny. It's funny, but he's very dangerous, right? He's super dangerous.
My other favorite Joker quote was never rub another man's rhubarb. I don't know what that means.
I think we all know.
Yeah, I take a guess.
Do not fish in another man's well or else you'll get crabs. That's a Confucius saying.
I was gonna say don't touch another man's penis because you might get spit on. But
I'm talking about, actual movie dialogue, Aaron. You took this one step too far. You just ruined this podcast.
Did I make it go up just that next level? Took it to the next. But my next question for you guys, and I'll answer this one first. Favorite Batman villain? Mine is the Joker. I feel like just because like him and Batman have like that fucking back and forth that is just like no one can touch that back and forth between these two enemies. To me, it's bigger than Superman and Lex Luthor. It's bigger than 50 Cent and Ja Rule. It's one of those ones where it's like,
bro, that's not a rivalry, dude. Like Ja Rule gets nothing in that rivalry. Like he just gets owned. So
they did stab 50, and if you want to get the physicalities and stuff, but still, like it's like the perfect, beautiful rivalry of insane and insane in a sense, because you have to be a little bit crazy to fucking dress up as a bat and try to save your city. I mean, yes, it's heroic, but you're rich. You could hire people to fucking go out there and fuck some people up. Like he's a billionaire playboy.
I agree with you. You gotta think if you went to the anime series, they even say that to each other. In one of the anime movies.
Yeah.
They won't be nothing without each other. Like because Batman was like, Joker was like, why don't you just kill me? And he can't do it. It's like what would you do without me? Like they feed each other.
I don't think there's any question that Batman and Joker are the most intimate.
Yes.
When it comes to their superhero villain relationship in the Batman world.
So
my question to you guys again is, who is your favorite villain of the Batman franchise?
Joker.
Probably. I mean, it's got to be Joker.
Ibrahim, I feel like you're going to come up with something different.
Well, I would say Joker is definitely like the most popular, most famous. He's got the most cool stories. They let him do all the cool stuff and kill people. I really like. Well, the one I think is actually low key the coolest is Ra's al Ghul. Because like if you think about all the stuff Ra's al Ghul did, like he runs the secret society, he's immortal, he trained Batman, he actually trained Batman. Yep. And if you read the comics now, like he's actually the grandfather of Damian Wayne, his son. Yep. And so like the connections are so interesting, and it's like it's another character where like, there's two sides, like they're basically both kind of the same person, but they fight evil in different ways. Like Ra's al Ghul thinks he's doing good by, trying to destroy places he sees as corrupt. But, he still does bad things. And so it's kind of interesting to see how they're so interrelated, the two of them, and how all their paths cross a lot.
Well, it's interesting because I think I don't have a deep DC Batman knowledge of all his relationships with all the villains. Obviously, Ra's al Ghul I know because of the Nolan movies, mostly, honestly. I'm curious I think Joker's the most well-known, and I bet that's why more people will say Joker is the best villain, because they don't have that kind of deep understanding of the comics. I bet if you the more you delve into it in the actual storylines, it's probably a different answer, like you just said. Like, you like Ra's al Ghul. I wouldn't be surprised if more diehards said anybody else.
Yeah,
there's a toss-up with Bane, because Bane broke his back in the comics.
Yeah, that was a good storyline. But they do like give Joker all these really cool, like, again, like Killing Joke that came out around when this film came out. That was a huge deal. It's written by Alan Moore, one of the great comic writers. And they just consistently give him all the good story arcs. He gets to kill, they even like had a vote on if he was going to kill Robin.
Yep.
And so then Jason Todd, he blows him up. I mean, that's cool. Like, that he gets to do all these things, and it makes him the arch nemesis, because they keep giving him all the interesting storylines throughout all the years.
Going back to the movie, towards the end where Joker's doing the parade and then he has the gas coming from his balloons. Originally that reporter guy, whatever his name was, I can't remember it now, was supposed to die. The main reporter. Apparently, I guess the filmmakers liked his character too much, so they let him live. And even at one point in the original scripts, Vicky Vale, who Kim Basinger plays, was supposed to die to set Batman off on, a rage, but they changed their mind on that too.
I think that right there, if Vicky Vale died, I mean, this movie to me was great. I'll give you guys my rating a little bit later.
I think then if she dies, then what's the point? Why would they have gone through? Why would he have gone through the Joker, everything he did, dragging her up to the top of the tower, really just to kill her?
Yeah.
Just to fuck with Batman's head more.
That's how he does. Yeah, basically that's what he does.
And that's what I like. That's one thing I like about the Joker is, like, he doesn't really give a shit about himself or anybody else. And he's all about, like, obviously he wants to control Gotham, but he really wants to stick it to Batman. He wants to be the one to just fuck Batman over. To defeat Batman, but at the same time, I feel like they do not want to defeat each other to the point of death, because, like you said earlier, they need each other. So it's just like that fucking. It's a perfect back and forth. It's that perfect fucking rivalry. It's that perfect good versus evil versus, like, I mean, if you look from Joker's perspective, if you're a big Joker fan, let's say you could think that Joker's really the hero and Batman's, the villain, and vice versa. And that's how their relationship kind of goes together with me. For me, that's how the relationship kind of goes together and kind of intertwines, so to speak, and really, like, fucking just makes sense. Because, again, going back, being the Joker or being Batman, you can kind of see both points of views of, I'm not the one that's doing wrong, you are.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie, after Batman blows up the chemical plants that Joker's been making all his products in and things like that. Joker comes in on the helicopter, yells something through, I can't.
The mic thing.
Yeah, the mic thing. And then they go to cut to, like, the helicopter flying away. It is clearly what looks like a toy figure. Just like held up by strings or something like that.
Helicopter.
It looks so much like a toy helicopter with action figures sitting inside of it, and I cracked up when I saw that, because there's a couple things like that. There's a scene where Batman's flying the Batwing, and it clearly looks like an action figure sitting in the seat when they tried to cut it together.
That's funny. That's funny.
Right.
Yeah, they use a lot of miniatures and matte paintings in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a testament to the movie, though, I mean, it doesn't take you out of it. I think the story and the production was good enough to, okay, whatever.
There is one thing I think they should have left out, though.
I mean, we may not have noticed that back then. I notice it now because of everything we're used to, of course. But
they should have never have him tell the girl that he's Batman.
Dude, you know what? I wrote down one of my big notes. There's no big reveal, though. Sure. Like, he was going to tell Vicky Vale in her apartment that he was Batman. That doesn't happen because the Joker shows up.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get to the scene where Alfred just walks into the Batcave with her. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, What? How? What? Like, there
Yeah, I
was
know,
no big
exactly.
reveal.
No.
If you're gonna do it, I feel like you had to have some kind of reveal, and that wasn't there.
I like the mysterious thing. Like I like how he separates his personal life. That's why everybody thinks he's a bachelor. He just sleeps around because he don't want no one close because they can get hurt. Just like if you go to the Nolan movies with Dawson's Creek chick there, he had to choose between her and Harvey Dent to die.
Oh yeah.
Like this is what happens. If you didn't get close, you would have never had to make a choice like that. You know, you didn't have to worry about that crap. But they like add that in there. I didn't like that part because I was a big Batman fan like forever, and I like that part where he didn't bring people into his personal life. No one knew who he was. It was like they were trying to figure out who he was and shit. Don't have a girl, then you break up like the next movie. He's in Catwoman.
Yeah, well, I
like,
mean,
yo, where
again,
did Steve go?
again, I think
knows you're
that's
Batman.
yeah. Again, I think that's a product of the time. Like now, if you're doing a superhero or big name movie, you can plan for like a trilogy or something like that to not have your character to give away their identity so early on.
Yeah.
But I mean, back in the 80s, 90s, that wasn't the thinking, I think. So they had to kind of try to fit it all into that one movie and then see where it went from there.
Yeah, and we
Based
never
on the
see her again, like
No.
ever in any movie ever. Like we never even heard of Vicky Vale in any movie ever.
Nope.
She's just gone.
In fact, Kim Basinger wasn't even the original actress hired for that part. I forgot who it was, but whoever they hired for that part, got in had some horse riding accident literally right before they were about to start shooting, and then they're like, "Hey, let's get Kim Basinger," and she was free, and she did it.
Mm.
Yeah, that sucks for her.
I have to go pee, so keep conversating. I'll be back.
Okay.
But again, it was a different type of planning for movies back then, so I don't think they could try to drag that out.
Wow.
Which I understand, but then makes me disappointed that there was no actual big reveal that he was Batman. I mean, Alfred just brings her into the Batcave. Like, what? And she's just like, what in the world is happening? Is this real?
Unless that was the reveal. Alfred was like, finally, he's like, you know what? He's not ever going to tell her. I'll do this shit. So he just brings her. He goes,
no,
hey.
and he didn't flinch. Like, it's like he knew she was coming.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's like, really, it seems like he should be the one to break this news.
Yeah. Unless
I don't know.
She kind of figured it out, I think, after the
yeah, she did.
When Joker came to the apartment, when he got shot, when she found the thing with the bullet.
She was also really doing a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the exposition about his backstory. We see it through her in a way, because like she finds that he's leaving the roses in the alleyway where his parents got shot, and there's all this other stuff, and she's like kind of like digging, and it's like, wait, this rich guy, her parents died. I mean, and it's like I see a motivation, and she was starting.
It's an interesting way to cover the backstory and still progress an actual current storyline, I think.
Here's the thing: like, if this is happening in this day and age, say there was a Batman out there, and say in Schenectady where we live, Chris.
Yep.
And you're gonna go. They're gonna like, oh my god! You see all his car gadgets and everything. They're gonna go. Who you think the Batman is? You'd be like, the only rich motherfucker in Schenectady. That's who Batman is.
Who the fuck else could afford something like this?
That's kind of the thing I wish they would do more is like have him at parties with other rich guys who could also plausibly be Batman, and like have them kind of like, you know, like the Elon Musk kind of guys who are like super big personality, rich guys, and they're just like, oh, well, I don't know if I could be Batman, you know, like, and then like have the plausible deniability. I always wish they would do that. Like, who are the other rich people in Gotham? Because there are others.
Exactly.
There can't just be one rich guy in the city. I mean, come on.
He's definitely the richest guy, but there has to be other rich guys who are also big personalities.
What about when he's driving around the Batmobile and he abandons it at one point and tells it to turn on the shields and the cheesy CGI shields?
It just looks like people are taking black cardboard and just sliding it up in the layers.
It looks like a cartoon, man.
Yeah, it probably was a cartoon.
You know,
I really like this Batmobile. Like, you bring it up. This is one of the best Batmobiles ever. It really is.
I had like 10 different like Hot Wheel the car. Yeah. Of course, I had to open some, but one I kept in the box. I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is actually, but I had that. I had the toy when I was younger. As soon as this movie came out, so I was around. This came out '89. I was born in '83. I watched it, I think, that same year, and the year after when they started, it got big and the toys are coming out. The first thing I bought was the plane.
Yeah.
The Batwing. I thought that thing was so dope in the movie, but the Bat car. The only reason I couldn't find my parents said they couldn't find the car.
Do you feel good that some of your
money.
Do you feel good knowing some of your money or most of it went to Jack Nicholson?
Hey, I don't care. At the time,
Well,
I didn't give a shit where the money went.
A fun side note about the Batmobile in this movie is, you know, who eventually bought it was the stand-up comedian Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist.
You know, are you serious?
Yeah, he bought it. He put it.
I'll go look it up and see who owns that right now.
Yeah, he owns it. He put in. He had it outfitted with a Corvette engine so that it was actually street legal, so he could drive it.
That is dope. That is dope.
So Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist, drives around the Batmobile.
If you told me to guess who might have it, I would have never thought of that at all.
Yeah, nobody would have.
No.
Yeah, it's such a cool because like after that they go like the Nolan one is basically a tank, and now this newest one is pretty much like a Mustang or something in the
Yeah.
So yeah, we've never kind of gotten back to like an actual kind of Batmobile kind of thing. I mean, the Nolan one makes sense. Like, yeah, you're this whatever it's very fantastical, the Tim Burton one, but it's hella cool. So
Yeah. I like it.
Aaron's holding up like a toy of the '60s one?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, and I watched a show on History Channel that someone owns that one, and I forgot the guy's name.
This one right here. All right.
Yep.
My next question for you guys.
It's not Adam West anymore. That's that.
Now this, right? There's this one right here. Hang on, let me show it better.
Aaron took a little break. I got to take a quick break myself.
All right,
friends.
go ahead.
Sure, man. There's this one right here, guys.
Yep, that's from the old series.
This one right here. Right here.
That looks like
that's the Tim Burton one.
Yeah, Tim Burton one. There you go.
The Tim Burton one. Timothy Burton. And then there's this.
You got the anime series.
The animated series one, yep.
That one's dope too.
Really quick. My favorite all around is the animated series, the car, the show, everything. My second favorite is this, as far as the car goes.
Yeah.
I like the movie. And then last but not least is this. But this is a dope fucking car too. But like, what is your guys' favorite cars out of the three that I just showed?
Well, that's what we're just talking about. We're talking about the Tim Burton car is like badass car. And Jeff Dunham, the comedian, the ventriloquist guy who talks with the puppets, owns it now.
Yeah, he owns
crazy
a Corvette engine in it to make it street legal.
Yeah, that's just dope.
Which I think is cool, though. I think that's fucking. If I had that money, I would own all three of these. And I say that because I'll be like, look, motherfucker, you need to make me the animated series Batmobile and these other two. I'm
shocked no one didn't try that yet.
I don't like the new. I don't know how you guys were saying it makes more sense as far as.
Now is the Returns one where it splits in half and a motorcycle comes out of it?
No, that's Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
Okay, so. Oh no! Wait a minute. There's something that he climbs a building with. Is that Returns?
He's looked at it
that
two buildings.
Well, that's Nolan too, because the tank goes up buildings. Jesus, I'm mixing up.
Yeah.
The tank wasn't that great to me, man. The tank wasn't that great. So yeah,
I thought it was badass, but I wouldn't count it as a Batmobile. It was badass. Okay, I would want one.
Yeah, I would call the Nolan thing like a Bat tank. That's what I would call that.
Yeah, it's a tank. Yeah, not
it's a Bat tank. which makes sense. Like, yeah, I want a fucking tank if I'm gonna, because like he had to fight the Joker. He had an RPG in that damn movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want a tank if the Joker's got an RPG instead of this 4-foot pistol.
Now, Chris, I'm gonna ask the question again. I'm gonna show the cars again, and I'm gonna tell you guys. Look, my favorite is from the animated series. Okay.
Yep. I've seen that one.
Favorite Batman and Batman Returns. This car.
I got to go Batman Returns already. I mean,
third favorite from the 60s. What is your what is your guys' three? Whoever wants to go next, go right ahead.
I'll do Batman Returns is my first. The 60s one is awesome. I think I'd probably rank that as my second. The tank from Nolan is cool, but again, I agree with you guys. That's not a fucking Batmobile. That's just a fucking black tank. It's just an all-terrain type of tank.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having a remote control car as a kid. I don't remember what it was called, but it was one that, you could flip it on. If it flips over, it could drive on either side. And that's just what that reminds me of, or something like that.
I remember those.
There is no upside down. There is no right side up. It's just a tank. So, yeah. But I think the Batman, Keaton's Batmobile has been the best. I think it's the most iconic. Well, no, I'm not going to say it's the most iconic. I think the 60s Adam West one's probably the most iconic.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's kind of weird that there's not like been a new Batmobile that's really been able to replicate the iconic nature of the first one, which is kind of funny.
I think I think that stems from it just being the first one.
Well, I think the Tim Burton one gets close. It gets close because but I think the technology couldn't make it cool enough. Like you brought up the shields that looked hella wonky. I think you got to make a new design. They need to really make a new design where they think, okay, how can you have a car that can go really fast, that can, it's like, what could be the penultimate Bond kind of car, right? Because that's really kind of what it is. It's like, it's got those kind of bonds. It's got to be bulletproof, shoots a missile, autopilot, has shields and all this stuff. But yeah, I think for me, I'd say the 66 one is my favorite. And then like the Keaton and then the animated. The animated just like, it looked like an approximation of the Keaton one, except very kind of blocky and I don't know. It didn't totally do it for me.
You think that's what they're trying to do for the new movie? Because they're using basically like a regular car, like a Mustang. You think they're trying to do the 60s type, having like a regular car, just with a little add-ons?
Yeah, it's curious, but yeah, it just looks like a Mustang.
Yeah, it's basically just a 60s Mustang, and I'm curious to see how that comes into play in the movie when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna lie. Even though
millions of people are gonna watch it. Yeah,
I know one thing. If he gets out of the fucking the Batmobile and he starts sparkling like in Twilight, I'm turning that shit off.
Are you gonna turn it off or are you gonna masturbate?
Masturbate first, then turn it off.
That's
30
that
30
sounds about
seconds
right.
in. Yeah, 30 seconds.
This is really taking a turn for the worst here.
Aaron starts it.
I can't help it, man. I have to do that. I have to do that. But
you don't. You really don't.
I do it for you, and I do it for James, and I do it for Ibrahim, and I do it for the people. You're welcome.
And it's the people's champ.
You just convinced people not to watch or listen.
So one thing I will say, like I feel like the BVS Batmobile, that one is like really bad to me. I feel like that one is by far the worst. It's just can anyone remember what it actually looked like?
I don't remember it, but it seems appropriate.
There you go.
It seems appropriate based on the Batman movie it was in.
The BBS Batmobile?
The BVS Batmobile. Yeah.
Batman versus Superman.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Oh,
okay.
Seen that?
That's probably for the best.
I really don't remember it either.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember it at all. I forgot I had even seen the movie. Honestly.
Does Superman trash it though?
Superman, he runs into him. He runs into Superman. Superman shows up and he like freaks out, and then he runs into him.
Let me ask you this:
he uses it later on. So.
Are you gonna watch the Justice League, the new Justice League recut when Zack Snyder comes out with it?
I will.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I will watch it. The 4 hour whatever.
The 4 hour miniseries, I think it basically is.
I'll probably watch it, but I'll say this: I'll most likely watch it if we're going to be reviewing it. Other than that,
we could we'll review it.
I guess I'm watching it.
No, it's Batman. I'll watch it anyways. Like Batman, it catches my attention, but then I'll watch it. Like I was really mad at the Batman versus Superman. Like I was like, I didn't like how they did that, and I didn't like the Justice League either. With all of them.
Well, Justice League's a disgrace. I do think that Batman vs Superman, the like super ultimate cut or whatever they call this thing, that film is like salvageable. I think it's actually okay. That would be the only thing I would recommend people watch of that movie. Don't watch the theatrical cut. It's not going to make any sense. You're going to leave kind of mad. At least if you watch the if you watch that ultimate cut, it's like 3 hours, but it makes sense. You see what he's trying to do, and you get kind of a positive feeling out of it, at least.
I'll have to give that one a shot then.
Yeah, because what he was trying to do was do the Dark Knight Returns Batman meeting like a new Superman, and he was trying to kind of do that storyline. But then then they also threw in like Doomsday and like Wonder Woman and all this other stuff, and so it got a little convoluted.
Yeah,
but I think that they do kind of hit some of the stuff that works with that storyline.
Yeah, I think they tried too hard. They tried to put in too much.
They definitely put in too much. I mean, that was probably the suits. They were like, "Yeah, we got to kill Superman. We got to have Wonder Woman," and it's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Once you start throwing all that in, you can't focus on a central story, and it just ends up all over the place.
Yeah, it definitely suffers from being all over the place. I do think that they resolve a lot of that stuff, like in the Ultimate Cut, where you do actually get character stuff. Like you get this character stuff of Clark Kent as Clark Kent doing investigations of Batman, and like seeing how Batman's just going around throwing people in jail, and the people get in jail, they get killed. And it's like, whoa, dude, this is kind of messed up. But it kind of works because you're like, okay, this Batman is like, he's really, really dark. He will kill people without hesitation, and he is very determined to stop Superman, period. End of story, because of whatever happened in his past. And you just don't really get that in the theatrical cut, which sucks.
My problem too. I don't think I'm not a big fan of Affleck.
A lot of people aren't. Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, I didn't really have a huge issue with him being Batman. I think it was more the overall storyline in general.
I think the way they portray him, like he is super jacked in the movie.
He's a big fella.
He's a big dude, and he is like big for this. Like he is so jacked. And the one scene that's really good is like where he goes into the warehouse and he fights like 20 dudes. He just literally kills them all. I mean that's like the whole reason why Zack Snyder did the film. Like he wanted to do a Batman who's badass, crazy. He's been through everything. He's had people die, and now he's going to kill people. And like you just see him, like he's just super yoked, and he's fucking killing people with one punch and stuff. It's like, whoa, dude, this is not the animated series Batman where you never see anyone die. This is a whole different thing, and that's like his whole approach, really.
Yeah.
Kill your darlings. One of the things I found really weird too is like, so in the Ultimate Cut, and this is again just talking about like the ways Snyder thinks about these things. They had this character who's a guy, is a CIA guy named Jimmy Olsen, and then he gets shot in the head at the beginning of the movie. So they have this CIA guy named Jimmy Olsen, and they kill him.
Wow.
It's like, dude, what? And he said, "Oh yeah, I had fun with Jimmy Olsen in the movie."
Wow.
I just thought that was hilarious. But like that's just the way he thinks about the universe. He's like, I want the stakes to be real, I want these people to like feel like, if Superman was real, he could just like blink, snap his fingers, and thousands of people die,
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Imagine, speaking of Superman, I gotta just say it. Can you imagine him farting? Like that wind has to be
Super farts.
Yeah, powerful. Cape starts just flapping. Cape is flapping in the air.
That's how he flies.
Yeah. What do you think? How high up he gets up there, man?
Yeah.
He saves him.
What the hell does he say? To infinity? No, that's Buzz Lightyear.
No, that's Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
Did he say anything?
It's very beyond. No, he just takes off. But now the 18, like, I love this Batman though. 1989.
No, this was good.
Brings back
yeah, from what I just going back and looking at some of like the Siskel and Ebert reviews and stuff, it was getting like everyone was in consensus. Yeah, this was a great movie for what it was. But the best thing about this was that it led to Batman Returns.
Oh yes.
And they said, it was when I saw that, it was phrased in a good way in that Batman Returns improves upon this, even though this is already good for what it is.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like this film was a masterpiece. I really do. Like, I feel like this film was just like for its time too. Again, you got to jump back to 89. I'll say 92, 93 for myself for when I first got to see this film. But I feel like it's a masterpiece for its time. I feel like it really does hold up. Yes, you could say, oh, well, the movie looks kind of shitty. It's dated. But the story, like Chris was saying earlier, the story really fucking holds it together. And that alone, I know we're going to be talking for a while longer, probably. But I'm going to jump right into my ratings.
Do it.
Movie a fucking 10. 10.
Wow.
10 batarangs. You know, the things he throws, 10 batarangs out of fucking 10. And obviously, it's one of those movies I can go back and watch again. I know, like I told you guys, 10 years ago I watched this movie, but I watched this movie more recent than 10 years ago. I watched the movie maybe like a year or two ago. I remember going through them with my wife. And this one really, I mean, because we're talking about this one in particular, this one really fucking holds up. And Jack Nicholson's character of the Joker was just out of this world, especially at the time. And I'm going to go him versus Heath Ledger. I know a lot of people love Heath Ledger. I think he did an excellent job, an amazing job. Jack Nicholson was more of the silly Joker, the goofy / sinister, where Heath Ledger is more, he was goofy, kind of silly, but a lot more dark and a lot more sinister than Jack Nicholson's character was. And I just feel like for that time, it was fucking perfect. Like, again, going back to Jack Nicholson playing these crazy characters, he does such an amazing job. And that smile, like, he has the natural Joker smile. Of course, they had to do effects to, hype it up some, but he has that big ass natural Joker smile. He has the voice for it. And I love how they use the purple like the purple, and then they use it in the cartoon and Heath Ledger's Joker, of course. But I just loved it, like how sinister and silly he was. Because if you go to the animated series, he was like a mix of both the Heath Ledger Joker and the Jack Nicholson Joker, and as far as like that silliness, that goofiness, the jokiness, the funniness, and then the real dark, sinister shit. Like really dark. Like he'd be funny and dark at the same time with stuff. I mean, he wants to kill people. There's nothing darker than that. He wants to kill. And that's what I loved about his character in both the movies. But I also love I just feel like, again, this movie was a 10 to me. This movie was a fucking perfect. I loved it. I really loved it. What do you guys think?
You want to go next? I can go. It's short. Mine,
Nope.
This is rare for you, Aaron. This is a 10 for me.
Oh, shit.
First 10. The reason is because like I said, when I was younger, I watched this a million times. This got me into Batman. And I was obsessed with Batman. I mean, I had so many Batman toys that I can't even count. That's how many. I used to have so many where I had doubles, and I used to go outside and hit them with baseball bats. So that's when you get the older years, and you're like, oh, okay, like, oh, got something to hit with a baseball bat. So I grabbed one of the toys. But no, Batman is like my all-time like favorite superhero. So this movie just like drawn me in so far into the Batman world. So this movie was a 10 for me. 10 batarangs, whatever Aaron said. I guess that's the weapon of choice he chose. Makes sense. So whoever's up.
I'll go. I mean, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Oh.
And I can see Aaron's confused look on his face.
Now it makes sense, but you only said it like
Like I said, I haven't seen this movie in 25 years. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, it holds up better than most of the movies you're going to find from this time frame for sure.
Mhm.
In 1989, you're not going to find many movies that hold up better than this. Obviously, you at that time you can't plan on. You cram as much as you can into this movie and still make it coherent because you can't plan on sequels at this time. You don't start out in 1989 planning a trilogy. And they were, I think in this movie, again, they were able to cover the pinpoints they needed to cover through Batman's backstory with Vicky researching him, doing her little spy work. I mean, they added the twist of the Joker being the one that killed his parents. So they were trying to go they were trying to go full circle on this and make a cohesive story, and I think they did. I think for any generation of trying to put out a movie with an existing character that's been done before and will be done again, you got to find a new spin on it. They found the spin they wanted to at the time, and I think it was great.
Great.
But yeah.
Cool.
Again,
Yep.
I've been slightly more of a Marvel than I have DC fan. That's another thing. So
I get that.
Yeah, so I think similarly, this is probably one of the first things that I ever had an experience with in terms of Batman. Like, I can definitely remember as a kid, like, wanting to see this movie, but my parents wouldn't let me see it for a couple of years. And then, like, when I finally got to see it, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Like, renting it at Blockbuster, like, multiple times kind of deal. Yeah, I love this movie. I actually recently saw it again in a 4K, which is like, I feel like if you have seen this movie, when you see this thing in 4K, I mean, it is on a whole nother level. It looks so beautiful. I would definitely recommend that. They actually released, like, I think all 4 of the ones we're talking about on 4K. And this and Returns are very, very good. Yeah, so I think for me, this one, it's not perfect. I wouldn't give it a 10. I'm going to give it similarly 8 bat signals out of 10. I think it's really good. I think there's some things that don't quite work. I don't think it's like as good as, later, like The Dark Knight. But
you've hurt Aaron's feelings and he's left.
Well, there you go. But yeah, for its time. And I think the other thing that kind of the toy stuff is really important too, because this is like probably, I'm sure Bat Superman, the one from the 70s, was really big when it came out. That was probably like the first really comic book film that was big. But this one, Batman 89, was like even bigger, and it like crossed over into pop culture, and like it was really sort of this is where kind of the origin of the massive comic book movie starts, I think, is with this film. Like,
no, you're not wrong, because I mean, yeah, Superman, Christopher Reeves was big, but this was where they kicked off and really introducing Batman to a whole new generation. Because before this, it was the Adam West years, the 60s, 70s, and they hadn't really done anything since. Yeah,
there was nothing else. It was just kind of been laying there, and this again, it was like so huge. I feel like anyone who was probably born like late 70s to like early 80s, like, this was probably, or like a teenage boy, this was like their childhood. It was like, yeah, Batman toys. And like, I had the Batman toy, and I didn't hit mine with baseball bats, but one of them, I just like, for whatever reason, I put it under like I burned one of mine. I threw them in a fire,
Yeah.
like in a furnace. And then I was like, oh shit, I burned his leg off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Batman went through a lot, the toys.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess Aaron's going to return.
He's done crying. He hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel so much better now, guys. Like that. Oh man.
He went and peed behind that green screen behind him.
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
But I missed the whole conversation, which is fine.
It's not like you listen anyway.
But man, I want to just jump back into what each of us do. This time, James, you're gonna speak for yourself this time, James.
What do I do?
I am a podcaster.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you're going back to this? All right.
Yeah,
Well, I am a co-host of Horror Research 30 and partial co-host of could be multiple things from the Z Network. Yeah, there you go. I don't have my own podcast.
And for me, Horror Research 30 podcast, you can find that on Facebook, YouTube, Podbean. I'm also, of course, a part of the Z Network, and Popcorn and Pints, more than Colas and Popcorn and Pints. Real quick, guys, Now, if you look in the description, and if you're someone who's an up-and-coming podcaster, you want to start your own show, you have your own show, you're like, hey, I want to do live shows, check out RESTREAM. If you click the link in the description, you get a $10 credit on your first month of RESTREAM. That's $10 off your first month of RESTREAM. Click that link. Also, click the other link. Go follow us on Twitch, the Z Network on Twitch. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group on the Z Network. You're going to see some amazing, amazing shows on the Z Network. You're going to see Stories from a Bar. You're going to see Horror with Sir Sturdy. You're going to see the Horror Haven. You're going to see Any Last Words podcast. You're going to see the Statesman series. Many more that are behind closed doors right now. And, you know, I'm just saying, check us all out. Ibrahim, go ahead, man. You're next.
Yeah, so you can find me, just Google Deep Focus Cinema Podcast. Look that up on YouTube as well. As I said at the beginning, do a lot of film-related stuff. Like this weekend, got 2 podcasts coming out. One is a review of Interstellar with my co-host on our sci-fi related sort of podcast. And then me and my other co-host, Lucian, we're going to be doing the second part of a 10-part series of our top 100 favorite films of all time. So definitely check that out. We get to talk about a lot of cool films and got some cool opinions, some hot takes. So yeah, just Google Deep Focus Cinema Podcast and you'll find all my stuff. Thanks.
Again, be sure to check out Stories from a Bar, talking to a lot of brewers, bar people, local people in Schenectady, New York, Albany, New York, Troy, New York area. You know, just chatting, drinking, helping some businesses out, telling some interesting stories, hopefully. And I'm really excited about Popcorn and Pints. I know we've already talked about a lot of movies we want to cover. Obviously, we'll be doing some more Batman movies. I'm thinking we need to do Weird Science, Crawl, Gremlins. I've got all kinds of old childhood movies I'd love to go back that we're planning to rewatch and revisit and chat about.
2 Girls, 1 Cup. Is that a childhood movie?
No, you sick son of a bitch.
No.
Believe, yeah, shocker. Aaron wants to watch 2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Childhood movies. And one movie that I was thinking of that I watched as a child that I know I liked a lot as a child and probably still like now is
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop.
Dude, there's no way that's not one of the best fucking theme songs of all time.
The Axl Rose song?
Yeah.
Not Axl Rose, wow. Axl Foley.
Axl Rose.
Wow, I'm going Guns N' Roses here. No,
Yeah, Guns N' Roses.
So we've got all kinds of fun shit planned for Popcorn and Pints, doing live episodes, live streams, even taking suggestions. I think it'd be cool to hear what people would want us to talk about. And
what do our 2 fans want? Like,
yes.
if you guys say anything, you'll get it. Basically,
get your requests in now while we have no listeners. Was there a way to see how many people listen to this, or did we have any comments?
I see 0 comments. The only people who commented is me. I said hello, yo, awesome, fun show, and so dope.
Yeah, I was checking too. I seen comments, but it was from the post Aaron put. It says we're going live at 9. I thought it was the live button because it had a play button, so I clicked it. But it was, I was like, I'm reading the comments. Someone was saying the sound.
James was one of our 2 viewers.
Yeah, I was watching it. Yeah.
You know what was funny about that? The sound thing, right? So the gentleman's name is Kyle Alexander. Big shout out to him. So good, it's scary. Big shout out to you, man. But he hit me up earlier. He sent me a message. He was like, "Hey, man." He was like, "Ignore the message I left about the sound thing because it was me." He said, "If I went into the video, I hit something on my computer and it turned the volume all the way down." But yeah, like, I mean, if people are watching, if people aren't watching, I know people will eventually start watching once we start doing more videos, have more content out. So I'm cool with that.
Fuck it, man. This is for us to drink and chat and just have fun.
Shit, man. And we're going to be reviewing a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got some great stuff lined up.
Non-horror movies, non-horror shows. Now, if you want the horror stuff, you go with Horror Sir Sturdy, you go with the Horror Haven, you go with Any Last Words, etc. You want the non-horror, you come to Popcorn and Pints. You're going to get shows, movies, and interviews, and it's all going to be entertaining. And again, if me and Chris are involved, you know there's going to be some immature shit. 100%.
Mostly on Aaron's part.
If it's me and anybody involved, it's going to be immature on my end and probably on other people's end as well. But it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fun. It's going to be funny. And let's dive back into this Batman movie. Like, again, going back to my childhood watching this movie, I have that same feeling, maybe even a stronger feeling because I understand the concept of the movie more. I love this fucking movie. Like, I feel like as far as like non-horror, which I don't have a favorite horror movie, but
I'll be right back, guys.
This is definitely one of my favorite horror. This is definitely one of my favorite non-horror movies. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, to me, it was perfect. Like I said, I gave it a 10. It was so well done. To me, it still holds up to this day. Yes, I know you could look at the effects and you could say it's kind of cheesy, but I go back into that childhood mindset and that 80s mindset, just because it came out in 89, or you can say even 90s, of watching this with my siblings, with my close friends, and just really enjoying it. And Batman is one of my favorite like heroes. And I just like I think I like Batman so much because he's so dark as far as like the way his character is. Like the story is very dark and really, really fucking gritty. And I think that's just awesome. Again, versus Superman, where it's like, I know a lot of crime happens, but it's like it's not dark and gritty like Batman is. You know what I mean? It just doesn't have that dark grittiness. And I mean, again, 10. It's a fucking 10 to me. I know we did our ratings earlier. And I feel like Jack Nicholson's character was perfect for this role. For this role right here, I think Jack Nicholson, I don't think anybody else could have did better than Jack Nicholson. Same for Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, movie. I don't think anybody could have did any better as a Joker than Heath Ledger. And it's like those Jokers to me are almost like a tie, just because of, like, again, the times of the movies and the story, like the way the movie was shot, the story of the movie. They both worked perfect in their movies, if that makes sense. You know what you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was spot on casting, especially Jack Nicholson as a Joker. Keaton did a great job as Batman. They obviously took a chance there.
Big chance, paid off though.
Yeah, but that paid off because when you look at, again, this block of 4 Batman movies, everyone looks back and says, "Oh yeah, there's no way Keaton wasn't the best in this at this time." So,
agreed. And like, even the thing is, like, even going back, I think Keaton did better than Bale, and Bale did a fucking amazing job. He did better than Val Kilmer.
Well, Keaton kind of set the tone for when you're Bruce Wayne using a normal voice and trying to use a deeper voice to distinguish yourself when Batman, because the actors that came after him, especially Christian Bale, tried to use that same formula, you know, by going with the different voice.
And you know what's crazy? I mean, I know it's older than this movie, of course. The animated series, from what I remember, which I do have to go back and rewatch because it was fucking amazing. But the animated series, I feel like Batman and Bruce Wayne's voice wasn't far off. Like, he didn't really, like, you know, say this is my regular voice and then, "Yeah, I'm Batman, motherfuckers. I'm gonna fuck you up." And then, "This is me." He didn't voice too much from what I remember.
No, it was normal. His normal speaking voice most of the time, especially as like he's talking to Robin and everything. You know, when he's just talking, it does sound like his normal Bruce Wayne voice. It's not that much deeper, I don't think. Anime series is different. Like, you know, look at the Superman cartoons or even the movies. Clark Kent just puts a pair of glasses on. "Oh yeah, you're not Superman." Like, "Oh my God, what? You slicked your hair back?" Nah, that's not the same face.
No.
I do want to say this. I would love to review the Superman movies when Christopher Reeves was playing them. I remember watching those movies as a kid.
Oh, I watched all those, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, to me, I got to rewatch them because I haven't watched them in years. And this could be my childhood sticking out. And I only watched as far as the newer Superman movie, I think I only watched the first one, maybe part of the second one. I don't know.
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen all of the Christopher Reeves ones.
But
I did.
so
I think I did.
I like the older ones better. Again, I have to go back and rewatch those, which I mean, we might as well review those eventually too. We might as well
Throw them in the list, man. We're all
Yeah.
about, older movies here at the rate we're going.
Yeah,
That
keep
made an impact.
You gotta put get the gasoline for the podcast to fuel it for years to come.
Yeah, shit. There's
a lot of movies you can't run out.
Nope.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and I can't fucking wait. Like, I want to review something next weekend if possible. We'll see.
I'm down. What do you want to do? We'll discuss that offline. We'll leave that as a surprise for the our millions of listeners and viewers.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea.
I'll say this: let's not do Batman Returns. Let's do something else from that era, though, like the 80s, 90s. But let's not do Batman Returns yet.
I'm down.
Let's set off air, maybe on air. Maybe I'll have to come up with something on air. I can't think of a movie right now. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry.
Don't forget, we'll be doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles saga at one point.
Oh, we have to.
Now you're talking about all of them, right? So you're starting from the old 90 ones.
I'm focused on the 90s trilogy here.
Okay.
Best ones. And really quick, like that's one which I did talk to Chris off air, but I'm gonna tell you guys on air. My brother Henry has to be on for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ones, especially the first three, especially. I say that because I'm shooting back to I don't know how many years ago it was. Kevin Eastman came to Albany. Kevin Eastman is one of the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Really quick, for you guys that live in upstate New York, for you people that don't live in upstate New York, from Schenectady to Colony, Wolf Road, it's about, what did you guys say, about 25 minutes to a half hour, depending on...
All within there.
Yeah.
A half hour, right? Long story short, I had a book. I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, comic, the hardcover comic book things. I can't... Yeah. So, we were going to the con. It was FancyCon. Kevin Eastman was one of the guests there. I'm only speaking with Kevin Eastman because, it's just where the story ties into. I forgot my book. My brother had his book. He was there with his wife. I was there with my wife, Serene, his wife, Frances, my wife. I was there with my wife, and I forgot my book. So from the hotel on Wolf Road, I had to go from there back to my house in Schenectady and then go back. And I guess at some point, my sister-in-law, Serene, was like, hey, Henry, just go get his autograph, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, I got to wait for Aaron. He waited for me to go get his autograph, which was fucking beautiful. Thank you for that. You at the same time because you're light skinned. But like that really means a lot to me. So I'm like, I can't review these movies without him because he's not my blood brother, but he's my brother. He lives out in Colorado, and we grew up watching these type of movies together, not only horror, but these type of movies. And Turtles was like one thing, of course. So yeah. That's the long story short. But yeah, like I fucking love this movie.
No, Batman's great, man. Yeah, like I said, this I haven't watched this in like 25 years since I was a kid.
Really?
And I watched it yesterday before this, jotting down some notes. I'm like, you know what? This still holds up. There's obviously some of the cheesy 80s special effects that are certainly noticeable, but at this point in a wonderful way. Yeah. Like, I mean, just one of the opening scenes where the criminals mug the family in the alley, which at this point, nothing good ever happens when you're walking in a dark alley. Like, nothing. Mm-hmm. But they flash to the top of this tower, and there's the figure that turns and walks into the tower like he's going to come down. That just looks like a fucking cartoon, clearly. Like the pixels don't even match up. Yeah. So, and there's a couple, of course, goofs throughout the movie. Like you can see a person's hand when Batman lifts Vicky up into the air at one point. There's a scene where after he drops Joker into the vat of acid, and the cops are surrounding Batman in that chemical plant. He looks to the left, he looks to the right, he doesn't know which way to go. So he just throws down a smoke bomb like you don't know he's not going to go straight up anyway. And you can still see him go straight up.
Yeah, you can see it right through the smoke.
Yeah. And
at that time, I think because everybody's going like there's a bat. They think he was supernatural. So they didn't see the wire. I think that does make it like they think he's flying to fuck with.
I mean, possible, but I thought that in some of the scenes when he comes flying in because you can see a wire, but I'm like it. But those are part of his gadgets. That's not a
Yeah.
mistake. I had to remind myself of that actually.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and of course the cheesiness or the CGI when he tells the Batmobile to shield up, and you see, what looks like just cartoon animatronics going over for the shield and things like that. But I mean, none of that took me out of this. Like, I mean, I noticed it, but again, it's a product of the time.
Yeah.
And I think for the time, this is obviously top-notch stuff. In fact, I think they spent $45 million, I think, to make this movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was that much. I would have guessed lower.
They originally planned for lower, but I think it blew up to like 45 million.
Oh wow.
And it ended up grossing, I think to this day, over 400 million or something like that. So I mean, obviously long term they made their money.
Oh fuck! And I'm not surprised at all, because like again, you go to the story, you go to the visuals, and yeah, like to our standards now, it may look cheesy, but you got to think of from the 80s to the early 2000s. I'll say late 90s, early 2000s. That shit looked really good. And we have that kind of respect for it to where it's not too CGI-ish. I don't know if CGI was back then or not, but more practical stuff. And I just feel like they did what they could. They did the best they could then. Like, I was even talking to my wife about this earlier. The part where, remember where it was Vicky and the other gentleman, I forgot what his name is, they were in, where they were looking at the statues and stuff, and Bruce Wayne came in there and said, I got
yeah.
Now, when Alfred comes in, he says, Commissioner Gordon left, blah, 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 it was serious, whatever. And he went to the Batcave, and he's watching them in the mirror. All that technology in that part was like, back then it was like fucking amazing. Like, only the rich people had it. Now, anybody can have it. Like, you could have it on your fucking phone with a ring light.
Yep.
And I feel that is so important and so cool, because it's just like, in 89, that was like ahead of its time, so to speak. Like the hidden camera behind the mirror.
No, and like I said, even with some of the delightfully cheesily bad CGI that you may notice watching this, it doesn't take you out of it. And again, a big testament, I think, definitely goes to the cast. And like I said, Jack Nicholson played the shit out of the Joker. Keaton was great for his role as Batman. I mean, even the characters of the reporter, whose name was Alexander Knox, and Kim Basinger. I mean, even their characters didn't take you out of it or anything like that.
Not at all. It every single character this is one of those movies where, to me, every single character held this movie together. You know what I mean? Like, it really, like, every character played a pretty prominent role. And by the characters, I mean the characters that you get the names of. They played a prominent role for their parts. They didn't feel like they were extra characters to where you're just kind of throwing a character in there just to kind of get the movie. You know what I mean? I have those extra characters like, okay, this character I got to kill off, so let me just throw him in there and just get him off, or whatever the case may be, get him killed off or knocked off. This felt like one of those movies to where every single character, to where you knew their name, you kind of knew them somewhat. They had a very prominent role. And again, that's what makes me like this movie even more, because it's just like every single character, again, no matter how big or how small the role was a pretty important role. And I love that. I think that's fucking awesome.
No, they did a good job on focusing on really the core characters, and those characters played their role well, which helps keep you in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Do people like Kim Basinger in this movie?
I mean, I thought she was fine. Honestly, I don't know what else I've seen her in. I know the name. I know she's been like super famous.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you a single thing she's been in.
The only other movie that comes to my mind with her was LA Confidential.
Okay.
But,
I remember that now. Yeah. Then the other ones were like kind of like, was it she like in a few like love type movies? Like, I mean,
my first thought when I saw the name in the credits, I'm like, hey, she was married to Alec Baldwin, wasn't she?
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
By the way, guys, I have to pee again for the third time.
He broke the seal.
Yeah, he did.
Now he's
he broke it a while ago.
Baldwin, it made me think of somebody. And I just want to say this. Rest in peace to Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
Jeopardy. We've seen it, even if we didn't really watch it religiously. We've all seen it from our childhood to our adulthood. Rest in peace to Alex Trebek.
R.I.P. A.T.
There you go.
I don't know how we got on that subject, but yes, R.I.P. Alex.
I think because you said Alex.
Random.
Oh, Alex, the character for the reporter.
Oh, okay.
It triggered.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Kim Basinger. She was in a couple other movies. She never stood out that much where I can remember the movies, the titles of the movies.
No, I can't either. I can't really think of a lot, but yeah, she just kind of one of those people who's big. Yeah, they're big because they're big, and then before you know it, they disappear.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying. Renee Zellweger. Yeah, that's another one.
That's another one.
Yeah, just like from like 1997 to like 2004, she was like the biggest actress in the world, and then she just like fell off a cliff, literally. And then
wow, she was in 9.5 weeks.
Okay, I don't know if I've heard of that.
Oh, you never? Okay, never mind.
No, that sounds familiar.
She was in the 8 Mile.
Oh yeah, she's like the mom or something, right?
I think. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, she was 50 Shades Darker.
Oh really?
A Natural. Okay, she was in some movies I've seen.
Well, I mean, she obviously had a career. Cool we wouldn't know her name.
Anybody remember that movie, Cool World, 1992?
What was it?
Cool World.
Cool World. I don't know.
I think that was that movie. If I'm right, it was that movie. It went into like it's like they went to. It's like it was kind of like Roger Rabbit. They went to like a comic style.
Oh yeah, that's the one with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Brad Pitt bangs the cartoon in that movie.
Yeah. The blonde
sounds vaguely familiar now.
That movie is weird. Yeah, that movie's like a weird Roger Rabbit. Like really.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I remember now. Until I seen that cover, I was like, "Oh my god!" I totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, I don't know. I think, I'm curious who the other like love interest people they were thinking of casting, because she's a little bland.
Yep.
But I mean, she is hot. But I don't know. It's just like not. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like she added a lot. Of course, also the characters like the classic damsel in distress. She just needs to be saved, or all these guys like why does the Joker want to be with her? Like I don't know.
Yeah,
so the original actress that was cast to play that part was someone named Sean Young. So I don't.
Oh, Sean Young, yeah.
I don't know who that was.
Have you ever seen Blade Runner?
Yep.
I actually have not.
Okay, then you probably wouldn't know her.
In fact, another side note. Now that you said that, when they were trying to, I saw today when they were trying to settle on their design for Gotham and things like that. Like they had an idea if they wanted, with the dark New York City type stuff. People involved in it in the art department were banned from watching Blade Runner, and neon was a no-go right off the bat.
Yeah, it's easy to see how they could just
because they didn't want that influence to sneak in.
Yeah, just by happenstance appropriate that. I mean, it's such an influential film. It's hard to get away from it. They probably use a lot of similar techniques in terms of like how they created the Gotham. Like when he's just like up, like especially at the very beginning, like the very, very opening, like he's up on a building and then you see like the city and it's very, very Gothic. It's great. It's great. But like, yeah, you can see how Blade Runner would be an influence. Cause like, again, it's like another way, like they're using probably the same techniques pretty much as that movie. In terms of how they're creating the cityscape, like they're basically using matte paintings to like paint the background when like a character's doing something and they're looking at the city. The rest of it's just a painting. And then you could be like, well, let's kind of make it futuristic. And then like all of a sudden it's Blade Runner, but with Batman in it and with gargoyles or some shit.
Gargoyles.
Yeah. But yeah, Sean Young would have been an interesting choice. Have you ever seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, so like you remember the Finkel Einhorn?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Sean Young.
Yeah. Wow.
So it would have been her. She would have been the love interest.
Okay.
But yeah, she's very different. Like when she's not doing a comedy, like she can be very like like the crazy hot. You know what I'm saying? Like she's really hot, but she's like crazy. Like you feel like, yeah, if I get with this chick, she's gonna like try and if I break with her, she's gonna try and kill me.
This
Like,
is a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Take my
It's like,
chances.
yeah, it's like you know how it's gonna end, but you're like, but it's gonna be so much fun.
It's gonna be a fun ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's that kind of crazy. That would have been an interesting choice getting her.
Yeah,
Especially because, like, in the 80s, she was, like, huge, and she was, like...
Yeah, apparently she had a horse riding accident really right before
Damn.
filming started, so...
Wow, that sucks for her.
Yeah.
Hey, people. This right here
There
is
she is.
Sean Young. If you guys can see my screen,
Yep.
that's Sean Young. My question to you is, just by, which you might say it's objectifying, but just by the look of the character, who would you have chosen, her or Kim Basinger?
Was this 1989 Sean Young?
It's,
Or was this when she first started when she was 17 or something?
That's pretty close to her in the 80s. You might have to find... You could probably find another one that's a little bit closer, but she was, like, peak around that time.
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously they chose her to start with.
Yeah.
So they had an idea of what they were looking for. And I think one of the things when they chose Kim Basinger is that she was available. I mean, obviously the name helped.
Yeah.
but do you think, I don't know, again, do you think just by look, because everybody doesn't know who Sean Young is as far as actress-wise, do you think that they made the right choice with Sean Young?
I mean, honestly, outside of Ace Ventura now, I don't know what else I would have seen her in, but I don't see why she couldn't have been the right actress to play that role.
I will be the one to give the full-throated endorsement of Sean Young. I think that would have been a really good choice. Yeah, I would have liked to seen her. Because again, like she comes off, like if you've seen like the film she was in at the time, like she gives off this kind of energy that's very interesting. She's not a passive kind of person. And she's super beautiful. So
He said super beautiful. He didn't just say beautiful. He said super beautiful.
dude, she was super hot in the 80s. 100%. I don't know if that's like the
Let's
best
see her
picture.
wish list. Aaron wants that nice coat.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I feel like, again, this movie was done perfect, which means it was perfect casting, in my opinion. Which I will say this. I will say this really, really quick because I've said this before. The best casting for any character ever, in my opinion, I want to hear your guys' opinions on this one. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man. I don't think any other casting has been better than that.
I think that was the only casting.
No, but what I'm saying is, as far as like Michael Keaton.
Oh, the one that. Oh, I see.
So are we talking just like an actor in a huge role?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Or I think he's talking about any actor in any role.
I'm talking about any actor in any role.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know, man. That's
far out there. There's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, that takes some serious thought. That's not an off the cuff.
I will say 100% they found the best Tony Stark because he looks and the same, like he almost has the same personality as the Tony Stark in the comics. Like they found a good one. They're like, holy crap, this could actually be Tony Stark.
That's
his look.
my reasoning right there. Like that's my same fucking answer is.
But
like,
out of everything, I don't know. I couldn't say that.
I can say that with confidence, and I say that because if you go back to the let's just stick with hero movies, right? If you go to the cartoon, Robert Downey Jr. looks like Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah.
From the cartoon, similar. I don't know about the comic books. I've never read comic books really.
Well, it was the base, the dark hair. He had the goatee thing going, so he does look almost exactly.
I feel like as far as him acting as Tony Stark, you know, like the really smart but kind of playboy kind of cockiness, similar to Bruce Wayne, but a lot more cocky, like a lot more flamboyant and a lot more like showboaty.
What about if he shaved? Would you accept if he was Batman?
Who?
Robert Downey Jr.?
No.
If he was like never did Iron Man, they just like let's throw him as Batman.
I don't think he could do Batman. He's too eccentric for Batman.
I think he's the perfect Tony Stark. I think for Batman, you need somebody that's kind of more laid back, kind of like more not wanting to be in a spotlight, but a playboy at the same time, as far as with the multiple females, but not wanting to be in a spotlight as far as just Robert Downey Jr. is really in your face, and to the point of, I mean, as Tony Stark. Sorry, Tony Stark is like in your face, is like to the point of not only being like that playboy, philanthropist, fucking intelligent, smart, rich.
No, he liked the attention. That's why he came out and said, "Hey, I'm Iron Man."
Versus,
he told people who he was.
Oh yeah, yeah. He makes. I think. I mean, you're spot on that he makes a fantastic Iron Man. I don't know, without looking into it, I have no idea who else they even may have considered.
Tom Cruise.
Did they? Oh, that's right.
Oh,
they did.
Tom Cruise was the guy.
They did consider him.
I might be the rare person out there that I do not like Tom Cruise.
I honestly don't care for him that much.
No, don't like him. Like
And
the possible movies, I like the concept. I'll watch it. There's action, but I'm like, oh, I can't deal with him.
No, he just seems like a generic action star that like, has no personality.
I was never a fan of him.
I'll say
I love Top Gun. I like Top Gun. The movie, but yeah, I'm not a fan of his.
I think on the perfect casting, I think for me, it's the same actor but two different roles. Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Those are perfect.
Oh,
those are absolutely perfect.
See, there's so many out there. It's like I would have never thought of that stuff. Like I'm trying to have movies flash in my head, think of an actor.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that's a good one too.
And that's like with those, like they tried doing that Solo movie where they got a young version of him and it was a disaster. And it's like, you can't replace him as Han Solo for sure. You just cannot do it.
No, but it's an interesting question because you're right. He was so good in that role that's what you know him and that role for. But had he not been cast in that role, would you say that about someone else?
Well, you can do a role well, I think. But the thing with Harrison Ford is like those two in particular, his style, like the charisma he has makes the character. Like that, I think that's where there's that synergy, just like Aaron's talking about with Robert Downey Jr. He is the character in his real life. So the synergy is like perfect, like he literally makes up a lot of the dialogue for Iron Man. He would just say stuff because he is the character and he knows the character in and out. So he doesn't need a script. He can just like ad lib.
Yeah, he basically goes by his everyday life. He goes, "This is how I'll talk to the ladies."
Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like with Harrison Ford, because like another person they wanted who's the guy who was Escape from New York? What was that actor? Kurt Russell?
Oh, Kurt Russell.
They auditioned Kurt Russell for Han Solo, which I don't
sounds weird.
That does sound weird,
right? But there's video out there actually of them. It's really weird. They're like sitting on a couch and shit, and it's like Kurt Russell and some other guy. I think it's Kurt Russell and Mark Hamill like going over lines. It's
just hard, like you said, Chris. It's like because you've seen them as that role, so it's imprinted. Like you can't see anybody else.
Burnt in the brain. I can't imagine that as someone else, but had someone else been given that role,
then it probably would have ended up the same. Saying the same thing today. You're like, yeah.
So I feel like Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man's a good example. Does anyone feel like there's a Spider-Man live action that person is Spider-Man?
You know what's sad? I'm a Tobey Maguire.
Listen,
I like the first ones that came out.
I thought Tobey was really good. Andrew Garfield's my least favorite of the three.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, I really like Tom Holland though.
That's like the more like younger.
But that's one of the reasons I like Tom Holland. He has, even though he's not a high school kid, looks the most like.
He looks.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, and Toby looks like he's fucking 40.
Yeah, he does.
No matter what. It's like, hey, what are you doing in high school? Like, like fucking.
But I mean, to Marvel's credit, they've always been top notch on casting. Their roles. That's what's driven
reboots, though. Oh, new Spider-Man coming out. Oh, different actor, whole different storyline. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Just get one that works and stick with it.
Well, I mean, maybe they do the live action Spider-Verse movies now that they've kind of opened up.
Actually, I heard that. I heard they're going to do Morales.
Oh, they better.
I got to think they bring in Miles Morales at some point.
They have to for a live action. But I will.
Well,
All the Spider-Man movies that I've seen, which I've seen all of them, I think I like them all. As far as the actors go, let's just say stick with the live action. I think they all did good for those stories of the Spider-Man movies. As far as my favorite, I got to rewatch those, which I'm sure we'll probably review those. But I got to rewatch those to see which one was my favorite Spider-Man of all. I know a lot of people hated Spider-Man 3. I really fucking enjoyed it. I may be one of those rare people. I enjoy it with Venom.
No, that was the big aspect for me. Venom, baby. Everyone wanted to see Venom, and they built it to that. I don't think it lived up to people's expectations. I guess the true diehards, of course, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I like the Venom movie.
Me too.
And I'm curious to see.
One.
Yeah, I can keep super curious to see how they handle the second one and integrating or Sony and Marvel's combination deal here.
I heard they're going to have a cameo of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, I think Tom Holland's scheduled to be in the next has a scene in the Venom movie.
Yeah.
And
they shot a scene of Tom Holland for Venom, that movie. They shot it. And then the Marvel people, basically Kevin Feige was like, no.
I don't get. I mean, everyone in those positions likes money. Why would you not?
I think it's because
he's a stickler.
I don't think Venom was really a bad guy yet. Like he was like a superhero in that movie. Like he was the hero.
He's an anti-hero.
So why would Spider-Man be in there? There would be no reason for Spider-Man to be in that at the time. Like now, when he flips and Venom actually goes how Venom is, then he's supposed to take over Spider-Man, and Spider-Man gets to suit just like the original Spider-Man stuff. But I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna play out there. Are they gonna keep Tom Hardy, or is he actually gonna split the body and find a new host? And
they're gonna keep Tom Hardy, and then there's gonna be Carnage and then these other.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited.
Wait for Carnage.
Yeah,
that's like wild.
I'm excited to see how they play that. Seeing Woody Harrelson as Carnage is turned me off a little bit at first, but I'm excited enough to see where they take it.
I can see him. He has that little crazy in him, though.
He does, but just seeing him in the fake red hair wig and everything like that, just knowing who he is, I'm like, it seems weird, but all right.
Hey, I'd rather have him than Carrot Top, though.
Now, you saying that, Chris, who would make a better Carnage for you then, if it's not Woody Harrelson?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, I don't know enough to do a deep dive into the human character that Carnage actually is.
I see, me personally, and I'm just gonna say this because I feel like this guy's such a great actor, and I feel like he can play like this because Carnage, again, he's very, very psychotic, but he can have his funny moments to an extent. Jim Carrey is one of those actors. I feel if it's like a crazy, weird kind of sinister / jokey, even if it's light jokey role, I think he's like the perfect actor for it, and I feel like he would be a very good Carnage. And another reason I'll say that is because of his facial expressions. Like he's very, very good with his facial expressions.
I don't know if they're going to make the Carnage that silly like the cartoons, though. I think they're going to make him more like actually like Carnage.
He's dark. He is dark.
Like dark and just tries to kill everything near him.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, because they're making the Venom movies. They're making them like dark.
Yeah,
like they're keeping on that train of dark movies.
I mean,
like
if DC, realistically, Venom is supposed to be the hero in the movie, despite any of his negative actions. So I think you got to go real serious with Carnage, I would think.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Yeah, really quick, with you guys saying that, that's one thing I feel with DC and with Marvel movies is making them darker will make them better. Because, again, I don't know too much about the comics, but I know the comics from what I've heard from other comic fans that really know the books, the comic books and all that. They're real dark. They're really, really dark. And, they started years and years and years ago. So I feel getting that crowd, which would be older than us, and including our generation, would really appreciate that PG-13 to R-rated fucking Marvel or DC movie, depending on, doesn't matter which one it is, but that real, like, that on the edge, that fucking dark death shit to where it's just like, holy fuck, like, the villains are actually killing in this. Because if you go back again to the Batman animated series and you go to, the Batman movies even, if you go to the villain Joker, he kills people in the movie. Like even in this movie here that we reviewed, he kills people. He shoots.
Yeah.
And I feel like that right there is perfect. I just enjoy it because it really brings out that like evil, sinister fucking character that you want to see. And I'll go out on a limb and say this: DC, you've been fucking up on a lot of movies lately. Aquaman, fucking garbage. Jason Momoa, terrible actor. You just got him because
Jason Momoa. I love that shit. Drink to that.
I'm sure he's not the first one to say that.
Because he's pretty boring. He's trash as an actor. Maybe he was good and what the fuck was the God of War or whatever the hell.
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Sorry.
God of War.
Oh, Game of Thrones. I apologize for that. I fucked up. Maybe he was good in Game of Thrones, but as far as like Billy and Aquaman, I think he did a terrible job. And like, I don't know, man. Like, you want like I just want like that really dark, sinister stuff like you got from this Batman movie. It was kind of dark, and I feel like DC should be a lot darker. And I'm gonna say this. Here's what I was gonna say. DC, listen, you guys have been fucking up lately on a lot of these live action movies. Animated, you guys knock it out of the fucking park. Just do animated films. Why?
Stick to the anime.
It's interesting because I mean,
real quick, I'll say 2, you do the or 1, you do an amazing job at it. 2, you can go in any direction in an animated thing because you can do anything you fucking want to without having to like CGI it up if it's a live action movie. DC, stick with animated because you can't do live action right now. And if you want to do live action, get better writers. Hire somebody from Marvel. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you say that because the DC movies, in my opinion, have, as long as there's been Marvel and DC movies, the DC movies have always been the darker set of movies. They've always tried to go that darker route, it seems like to me, more so than Marvel.
I heard they had their own like don't they have their own like streaming?
They
do.
They do.
Titans is like dark as shit.
And there hasn't, other than Deadpool, there hasn't been anything rated R.
No, Deadpool's basically the first one.
Well, has
Yeah.
anybody seen Joker? We haven't talked about that.
I have
Oh,
not.
that's
I have
right.
not watched that
I have not actually watched that. I've been meaning to.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Joker is a R-rated Elseworld, like basically a retelling, a rethinking of a Joker origin story that's completely separate continuity. But yeah, it's R-rated, and Joker kills people in ways that are, very, very dark. Like not like funny, haha. Like no, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, and that movie was very successful. It was like $1 billion movie.
Yeah, and I've been meaning.
Joaquin won an Oscar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, like going with the theme, that's a very, very dark movie. It's basically a Scorsese movie, but like with the comic book flourish on top of it. So that's kind of interesting. Like that's kind of where DC's trying to go. They're like, okay, who's the talented, director or artist who wants to do their take on some comic book property? And then they just kind of give them a film. Like, oh, you want to do Joker? Okay. You want to do Batman? Okay, Matt Reeves. Zack Snyder, come back and do a 4-hour fucking whatever it is.
Yeah. I bet. To me, it seems like DC's always tried to go the way of the dark way, as opposed to Marvel. I don't know if that was their plan because Marvel became so successful doing it one way that they maybe felt forced to try to take a more dark approach.
Maybe.
But
it's like I don't know. It's just the movies are not as good as the Marvel.
I don't. I mean, obviously people have their preferences. I don't think the DC movies have paid off nearly as well as the Marvel ones. But
I think so. For me, I would say Marvel films are consistently pretty good. DC films, some are like dog shit, and others are like amazing. So like you get The Dark Knight and Aquaman made by the same studio. One is like arguably the best ever. The other one is trash.
It's curious because the DC has such extremes. Because is one really great, or have they put out enough stuff? They're like, that it's not really that great, but compared to the other stuff, The Dark Knight was great, but let's say Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has become known as one of their best movies.
Yeah.
I would say so. Like if I compare, I think the best comparison for Wonder Woman, like compare Wonder Woman with Captain Marvel. Like which film? I feel like those are about equal. I'd say I think Wonder Woman's maybe a little bit better. So yeah, I mean on that level, and actually, Captain Marvel is considered one of the worst Marvel films. And yeah, Wonder Woman's probably considered one of the better DC films. So yeah, I mean on that level, you could say the quality of your average DC film was lower, I guess. But yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of Marvel films where I just feel like they don't really hit that level where it's like, okay, this is a really, really great, like Ant-Man. Are those great films? No, but they're not bad. They're not bad at all. But they're just like they don't really move the needle on the same level as some of their other films do.
No, Marvel has the formula, and when it comes to Ant-Man, I think that's more about trying to contribute to the overall story arc that they're trying to create over however many films they have planned for that story arc.
I was going to say something similar to that. I was going to say it in more simple terms of they don't really have to with a movie like Ant-Man because the Iron Man movies were so good. The Avengers movies were so fucking good to where Ant-Man was like a filler movie. You know what I mean? It's just like a filler, like boom, boom, boom. Here's Ant-Man. Here's this story. And all the other ones.
You can just rate them characters as the Avengers. Like Ant-Man was an Avenger, but he was like in the back. Like the main stars of the story and everything. So his movie's going to be in the back. Thor's going to be in the front because he's a main one. So that's how the movies fall in line.
I agree. I agree with that. And like with again, going back to the DC movies as far as like how they are now, like there's a lot of DC movies I haven't even fucking thought of watching. Like for example, I bought the Justice League and I bought Batman vs Superman a couple of years ago on Black Friday. My black ass still didn't watch them. It's one of those things to where it's because I heard mixed reviews of them. And unlike horror movies where I hear a bad review about a horror movie, I'm going to go ahead and watch it. When I hear a bad review about a movie like these, I'm just iffy on like, do I really want to watch that and disappoint myself?
Oh, I still do.
It's tough. For me, it's tough. Now that we have this show, Popcorn and Pints, it's going to make me go and watch these movies.
I mean, if I want to watch a movie, the reviews aren't going to stop me from doing it.
No, I don't even look them up. I just hear it by people talking about the movie. But then I don't trust people anyway.
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Reviews as far as like Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. But
fuck your tomatoes.
I mean, as far as like peer reviews, like I trust peer reviews more than I trust Cisco and Ebert or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever other fucking big name bullshit. I trust a peer review or a podcast more than I trust, that shit. And I think that's what got me not watching a lot of DC movies that came out. I don't know if that's a mistake or not, but it's just like at the same time, the few that I've seen, like again, I'll go back to the newer Superman movies, not that very well done. Not that very well done. I don't know if it's rushed. I don't know if it's the writers. I don't know if the DC movies are more of a money grab instead of like a passion project. Like I really do feel the Marvel films are more of a passion. Yes, I'm not gonna say they're not after the money. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's more of a passion project. Like the creators of that, or the main writer, or whoever the main person is, really passionate about these Marvel movies and really wants them to be good movies. Not necessarily
Kevin Feige. Is that how you say his name?
Feige.
Dollar amount, but more so for like the overall, like I really want these fans to really enjoy and love these movies like years down the road. Not just, I'll just use this year for example, not just 2020, but 20, 30 years down the road. I want people to be watching these movies. Versus DC, I feel like they're just like you fucking just throw some shit on the wall. We'll see what and that's what we're gonna go with. And we're just trying to get this quick dollar amount for 2020. Fuck the future. Let's just get this money now and see what happens later on. And Marvel's like, you know what? Not only can we get this money now, but we can keep growing with this fucking universe and with everything else that we're doing because we're doing such a great job. And yes, we can throw movies out there like, I don't remember who said it, Chris or James, or like Ant-Man, where it's not a terrible movie, but it's like middle grain to where it's like it's not bad, it's not great, but we can throw out that kind of people can get to know Ant-Man. That's why we threw the title because people can get to know Ant-Man.
I like Paul Rudd.
And
yeah, Paul Rudd's great. I think he's a lot better in the Avengers movies than his own movies.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with DC, so like Zack Snyder's Zack Snyder's basically, he is what the DCEU was before the whole thing collapsed. Like, he's very passionate about his vision, but I think people didn't like his vision. His vision was, I'm gonna shoot I'm gonna shoot people in the head. I'm gonna have Superman snap someone's neck. I'm gonna have Batman murder people. And I think a lot of people who are used to like this kind of Batman 89, they're like, whoa, this is very different from what I grew up with. And it doesn't really jive with my understanding and interpretation of the character. And I think that's really been the problem, is like they kind of got off track because, you know, they had Christopher Nolan doing Batman and The Dark Knight. And then he was basically like, I don't want to do DC. He still says to this day, I don't want to do DC movies. I just don't want to do it. I want to do Tenet, and I want to do Interstellar, and I want to do all this other big zany crazy stuff. And I want to crash a 747 into a building. That's what he wants to do. So they kind of put a lot of like that. They were hoping that he was gonna be the person to kind of steer the ship. And when that didn't happen, they kind of threw everything on Zack Snyder, and then it just didn't work out. And now they're kind of reassembling again and coming up with this new idea, which is, okay, we're going to have a multiverse where, you know, the Flash is going to meet Michael Keaton and other people. And we're also going to have this other Batman that's the dude from Twilight. And we're also going to have the Joker. And we're going to have Joaquin Phoenix be the Joker and win an Oscar. And so they're doing all these different things. And it's just, the approach is totally different than the Kevin Feige centrally planned, you know, plotting out, okay, this is the story arc. This is how we're getting to this. This is, we're going to build every arc over X number of years. They're just different approaches. And a lot of it has to do with luck. Like if the Avengers from 2012 didn't make a lot of money, like we're not even talking about Marvel as a thing the way it is now. There'd still probably be big films, but they wouldn't be the way they are now. They wouldn't be as successful if that film didn't do as well as it did. So yeah, luck is another thing that plays into it. And so, you know, sometimes that's how the dice roll.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how all of these cinematic universes play out now, especially now that theaters are closing down, and who knows when they'll be back up and running, stuff possibly going to streaming. Obviously, the Disney Plus has their series that'll be coming out, like WandaVision and Captain America, or Falcon and Winter Soldier and things like that. So I'll be curious to see how things move going forward. Zack Snyder doing his recut of Justice League on HBO Max and things like that. Should be interesting.
Okay, my question to you guys is, shit, what was it? Fuck, I forgot. And it has something to do with these movies too, but I completely forgot. Damn, man.
Does it have anything to do with wrapping this up soon? It's been almost 2.5 hours.
Holy shit. Oh,
Yes,
holy
we are going to wrap this up very soon. Very, very soon. I forgot my question. So
perfect end note.
that
It's a good way to end it.
Yep.
let's jump into the show plugs again. I'm Sir Sturdy from the Horror Sir Sturdy podcast of the Z Network. You can find me, Horror Sir Sturdy group. Feel free to share anything and everything. Again, it's the Horror Sir Sturdy group. Feel free to share anything and everything horror related, including your own projects, podcasts, art, anything. Horror Sir Sturdy page. That's strictly for the podcast. That's where you're going to see the live videos like this one, but Horror Sir Sturdy. And of the Z Network, Popcorn and Pints, where you're going to see shows like this. And again, the restream, the link, click that link, save yourself 10 pesos, $10 on your first month's subscription. So yes, $10 credit. But yeah, Horrors Are Sturdy, Z Network, fun fucking, just, you're going to get a bunch of fun with Horrors, with Sir Sturdy, with the Z Network in general. You're going to get a bunch of fun. And I'm going to pass it off to my guy, Chris. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, Aaron talked about the Z Network. You're going to want to check that out on Facebook. As far as my podcast, Stories from a Bar, be sure to check out that on Facebook. Stories FAB on Twitter. Stories from a Bar on Instagram. I'm working to get some. Actually, I got a new episode scheduled to record this week. Then it's just a matter of me not being lazy and editing it and getting that posted. So I got some new episodes planned and coming soon, talking a lot about beer and the local 518 scene and random interesting people and drinking and things like that. We got a lot of stuff planned for Popcorn and Pints, of course. This is just one of the many movies we'll be talking about. I got some other Statesman series episodes that I'm working on building up to release. And yeah, the Z Network. That's where it's going to all be at.
Next. Don't be shy, guys. Do not be shy. Ibrahim, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so you can find me just Google Deep Focus Cinema Podcast. You can find all the stuff I do there. YouTube channel, same name. So coming up this weekend, so tomorrow got 2 things coming. So we're going to do, one will be a review of Interstellar, the sci-fi Christopher Nolan film. And the other one is part 2 of the 10-part series of me and my co-host Top 100 Films of All Time. So that's going to be really awesome. So check that out. And yeah, so just Google Deep Focus Cinema Podcast. And you'll find out all my stuff there.
And you'll see me on the Z Network, Horrors Are Sturdy, Popcorn or Pints, Statement Series, whatever else I get invited to for the Z Network. It's always a blast.
I'm going to tell you another thing. Here's what I'm going to say. James is pretty much like the horror of the network. Like, we just throw it around. He's sick.
Hey, we need you. Get on here.
But no, seriously though, it's just, we come on here, we have a great time, we have fun, we talk shit, we have some drinks, some partake in the green herbal stuff, and we seriously have a really good time. We have a great bond on here, so definitely check out the Z Network overall. Check out Ibrahim's network and his stuff because he's fucking awesome. And check out our individual stuff. Horror Source 30 podcast, Popcorn and Pints podcast, Source from a Bar, the Statesman series, all the above, all the across on the Z Network, and as well as Ibrahim, like I said. And you're going to have a great time. You're going to have some great laughs. You're going to be informed. It's going to be the best. It's going to be a blast. So again, everybody that has watched or listened, even though you motherfuckers didn't comment, you motherfuckers better start commenting because we're going to be doing this shit live a lot. Thank you.
Threats always work well.
Yeah, you gotta threaten them to watch.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you for drinking with us or smoking, whatever you're doing.
God's lettuce.
Not crack, though. We're not supporting that. But no, seriously, though. Thank you.
No crack, only meth.
There you go. Thanks for your support. We all greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Please keep it coming. Tell your friends, family, tell your foes, tell your co-workers, tell your old bosses, tell your new bosses, tell everybody about the Z Network, Popcorn and Pints, Horror Research 30. What was it? Deep Focus Media, right?
Deep Focus Cinema Podcast. Yeah.
Focus Cinema Podcast.
Yep.
Stories from a Bar. All the above. You're going to be entertained. I promise that. Stop listening to R. Kelly because he's a fucking sick bastard. Watch this
Gotta bring up R. Kelly, man.
Fuck R. Kelly. Watch this movie, though. Seriously. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. If you've seen this movie, watch it. If your children are into these DC Marvel movies, watch this movie with them. Watch this movie with them because I feel like this movie really sets the bar for its time to where movies are now. Unfortunately, as good as this movie is now, as good as this movie is, the DC movies didn't carry that torch. They fucked up. Whatever the case may be, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is Popcorn and Pints on the Z Network. I'm your boy, your host, Sir Sturdy. My co-host today was Christopher. I forgot what I said his middle name was.
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Christopher Alvarez. That's good for you. Jameson Jenkins. Ibrahim. Ahmad. Mohammed.
Allah Akbar.
Jesus.
Episode 4, Batman from 1989. Enjoy your nights. Have a good night. Peace, peace, peace.
Yo.